Chapter 240. Sima Yue and the rest sat on Little Rock's back and anxiously rushed in that direction. Water lizards, green crocodiles, black hippopotamuses. Why are there so many amphibious sea beasts? There are also land spirit beasts. They're injured. Little Rock, hurry up. Sima Yue patted Little Rock's back and said, "The 10th elder is also inside. He's protecting those guards." Sima Yulan said, "Call out your contracted beasts, we'll go save them together." Little Rock came to the ground and placed those people on the ground. He was the first to enter the battle. Everyone called out their contract beasts and ran over to rescue those people from the outside. Sima Yue called out Yiguang and Thousand Resonance. Including Little Rock, she had 3 divine beasts. It could be said that this was the biggest lineup, causing the Sima family members to be shocked. More than 100 spirit beasts were attacking the Sima family, and nearly half of them were divine beasts. Fortunately, there were not many divine beasts of the spirit venerable level. Otherwise, they would all die here. Little Rock had a unique advantage in the air. So even though his strength was not the strongest, the sea beasts below were the most wary of him. Thousand Resonance's 7 tails had all manifested. Each tail could send a spirit beast flying with a swing of its tail. With him taking the lead, the people they were rescuing quickly opened up a path for the people trapped in the middle. 7-tailed spiritual fox. The Sima family cheered when they saw that it was the 7-tailed spiritual fox that had opened a path for them. "Whose spirit beast is this?" someone asked. "Who cares whose spirit beast it is? It's more important for us to break out of the encirclement as soon as possible." The person beside him said, "Yes, let's retreat." With the help of Thousand Resonance's power, other than those who were already dead, everyone else broke through the encirclement. Then, Sima Yue got everyone onto Little Rock's back and brought them away. The spirit beasts below could only watch helplessly as they left. They cried out unwillingly, but they could not chase after them. They could only tear apart the few corpses that they had obtained. On Little Rock's back, the Sima family members' eyes turned red when they saw that their former companions' corpses were all gone. Little Rock brought them to a safe place before landing. Only here did everyone truly relax. "How did you encounter so many spirit beasts?" the Great Elder asked. "We don't know either. When we first went there weren't that many spirit beasts, but this morning a lot of spirit beasts suddenly came. Moreover, they were all divine beasts." The 10th elder said, "I smelled the scent of the sunset cloud flower just now," Sima Yulan said. "Could it be that the sunset cloud flower attracted those spirit beasts over?" someone said. "No, the sunset cloud flower is not that attractive to those spirit beasts." Sima Yue shook her head. "There should be other reasons. Since there's a sunset cloud flower, there should be moon breath grass nearby," Sima Yulin said. Sima Yue nodded and said, "There should be brown bees too." At this point, her eyes lit up as she said, "I know why those spirit beasts gathered there." "You know the reason?" Sima Yulan looked at Sima Yu and asked. "Yes, if I'm not wrong, we'll be able to get something good," Sima Yue said. "Thousand Resonance, Yiguang, Little Rock, let's go back to that place." As she spoke, she brought Thousand Resonance and Yiguang and jumped onto Little Rock's back. "I'm going too." Sima Yulin jumped on as well. "You really want to go back?" The Great Elder looked at the two of them. Sima Yue nodded saying, "That's a good thing. It'll be gone if we're late. You guys wait here for us to come back. Little Rock, let's go." "I'm going too," Sima Yulan shouted. Sima Yue turned around and looked at her saying, "It's dangerous. You don't know how to hide your aura. It's not good here." As she spoke, she patted Little Rock and Little Rock immediately spread his wings and flew away. "Great Elder, are we really going to let the two of them go?" the 10th elder said. The Great Elder saw their shadows getting further and further away and said, "They've already left." What he meant was that they had already left. He had no choice but to let them go. "Great Elder, will Big Brother and the others be in danger?" Sima Yulan looked worriedly in the direction they had left. "It shouldn't be a problem," the Great Elder said. "Young Master knows that it's dangerous, but he went without hesitation. It should be because he has enough confidence in you. That young Master Yu is much stronger than what he has shown." The 10th elder added, Just his contracted beasts alone have 3 divine beasts. Furthermore, there's a little white ball that we can't see its original form or strength. With this kind of strength, even young Master Yulin can't compare to him. Sima Yulan had seen Little Roar's strength before. When she heard what they said, she relaxed a little. At the very least, her grandfather could sit on Little Rock and escape. At the very least, his life wouldn't be in danger. The clan is declining day by day. Maybe their return will bring a change to the clan. The great elder said faintly. Maybe the clan would change because of her alone. Sima Yulin sat beside Sima Yu. When he saw her eyes shining, he couldn't help but ask, "What exactly is it that makes you so excited?" Sima Yu chuckled, saying, "It's a treasure that will make the entire continent tremble." "What treasure?" "I've said it before. There's a sunset cloud flower near the moon breath grass. With the sunset cloud flower, there will be brown bees." Sima Yu said, You've said it before." Sima Yulin nodded. Many people know this. However, there's one thing that others don't know. After the brown queen bee evolves, it will become the scarlet queen bee. It's the supreme queen bee, and all the other queen bees will listen to it. Sima Yu said excitedly. Then why will it attract the attention of the spirit beasts? Sima Yulin didn't understand. Because the scarlet queen bee will give birth to scarlet bees. The scarlet honey that it produces has the effect of increasing the spiritual energy in the body. It also has medicinal properties. The scarlet queen bee is also a great supplement to the spirit beasts. Eating it can increase their strength. Sima Yu said, "It's no wonder that it attracts so many spirit beasts. After the brown bee evolves into the scarlet bee, it will be very powerful. It will at least be at the level of a divine beast. In the future, it can even evolve into a sacred beast or even higher. The average spirit beast will not be able to compare. Then aren't we in danger?" Sima Yulin frowned. "After it evolves, it will be very weak for a short period of time. We have to form a contract with it at that time. Otherwise, we will have no fate with it." Sima Yu was not worried. "Even if we want to form a contract with it, we need a beast tamer master. We didn't bring a beast tamer master with us this time." Sima Yulin was not optimistic. Sima Yu smiled but did not say anything. Sima Yulin was extremely surprised. "You're a beast tamer master?" He looked at her in shock. "No wonder you have 3 divine beasts. If you're not a beast tamer master, how can you be so generous?" The more he interacted with her, the more surprised he was. When he was with her, there were many times where he could not remain calm. They came to the valley once again. Those spirit beasts were still waiting at the bottom of the valley. On a big tree in the valley, a beehive emitted a red light. The light became brighter and brighter, as if it was going to pierce through the sky. Chapter 241. Sima Yu saw the white light and said, "We came just in time. She's about to evolve." Sima Yulin observed the terrain and said, "There are so many spirit beasts. It won't be easy to get close. Furthermore, the scarlet bees will be in the hive, and there will be many bee guards. Once it evolves into a scarlet queen bee, it must leave the hive and come outside to receive the baptism of the heavens and earth, absorbing all of the evolution liquid into its body. We just have to seize that opportunity." Sima Yu stared straight at the giant beehive. When the red light faded, she jumped down from Little Rock's back and said, "Thousand Resonance, Yaguang. Help me block those spirit beasts. It will only take a while." At this time, the spirit beasts also began to rush towards the beehive. Countless bees came out of the hive and attacked the spirit beasts. Although they were not very strong, they were using their lives to protect their king. When a swarm of bees died, another swarm of bees appeared wave after wave. Sima Yu concealed her aura and used the blood chi in the canyon to conceal herself as she slowly approached the beehive. A wet crimson bee was carried out and placed on the beehive. Many bees stood guard around it. "They're out." Her heart was filled with excitement, but the dense swarm of bees around her gave her a headache. No matter how many bees died, the bees around the queen bee did not move. Bang! A stream of spiritual energy hit the beehive, causing it to shake and fall to the ground. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The bees were enraged. Some of them stayed behind to protect the queen, while the rest flew towards the culprit. Sima Yu looked at Sima Yulin gratefully. Then, she used her spirit energy to cover her palm, and stretched out her hand to grab the queen bee. An ordinary bee was only the size of a finger. The brown bees here were as long as a finger, but this scarlet queen bee was nearly a foot long. The queen bee's body was still wet. She had to use both of her hands to catch it. Buzz, buzz, buzz. When the brown bees saw that their queen bee was caught, they all went berserk and attacked Sima Yue. Pa pa pa. Thousand Resonance rushed over at the crucial moment and stood beside Sima Yue. She waved her 7 tails and scattered all the bees. Thank you, Thousand Resonance. After Sima Yue finished speaking, she closed her eyes and began taming the scarlet queen bee. Although the scarlet queen bee's body was very weak, it understood the current situation. Its spiritual power was even stronger, and it wanted to reject Sima Yue's taming. However, no matter how much it resisted, it could not resist the power of the taming beast art and Sima Yue's terrifying mental strength. In the end, it was tamed by her. It actually has its own consciousness. Sima Yue could feel the strength of the scarlet queen bee's spiritual power. She muttered to herself, if I don't contract it now, it might resist the power of the contract when it recovers its strength. Since that's the case, I'll form a contract with you now. Sima Yulin was in the midst of a bitter battle with the brown bee. Wave after wave of attacks overwhelmed him. Suddenly, the light of the contract lit up in the valley, enveloping Sima Yu and the scarlet bee together. After that, it turned into 2 rays of light, entering the space between their eyebrows. Contract success. After that, 2 rays of light shone, and Sima Yue became a 5th-ranked spirit overlord. She actually rose by 2 ranks. The scarlet queen bee also rose from a 4th-ranked divine beast to a 5th-ranked divine beast, giving Sima Yue a shock. It's actually a 4th-ranked divine beast. If I don't form a contract with it now, I'm afraid that no one will be able to control it. Sima Yue smacked her lips twice and swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Sima Yulin looked at the man and beast who had risen in rank. He never thought that she would actually succeed in forming a contract. Where did this guy come from, to actually be able to form a contract with so many divine beasts? At this moment, the scarlet queen bee was still very weak. Sima Yue kept it in the spirit pagoda, then called Little Rock over, and jumped on his back. She took Sima Yulin up, and used the power of the contract to keep Yaguang and Thousand Resonance in the contract space. She sat on Little Rock and flew away. When the bees saw that their queen had been taken away, they gave up on the other spirit beasts and chased after them. Sima Yue did not return to the camp directly. Instead, she found a mountain and landed. She took out a few ingredients and placed them on top of a rock. Then, she took out the scarlet queen bee and placed it on top of the pile of ingredients. The scarlet queen bee looked weakly at Sima Yue, then began to crazily absorb the ingredients and the aura of heaven and earth. When Sima Yue saw this, she took out a basin. Inside, there was a diluted spirit fluid. She placed the scarlet queen bee inside and began to refine the ingredients. She poured the essence of the ingredients that she had just refined into the basin. When Sima Yue took out those ingredients, Sima Yulin was shocked by her generosity. After that, he saw her place the scarlet queen bee in the spirit fluid, and guessed that it must be very precious. When he saw her refining the ingredients so smoothly, he guessed that she must be a high-ranked alchemist. Alchemist, Beast Tamer Master. No wonder she has the Xian Yuan Pavilion's blue card. Sima Yulin muttered. He admitted in his heart that she was more powerful than he had thought. It was a good thing that the clan did not miss out on this kind of talent. Otherwise, they would have regretted it to death. He squatted down and saw the scarlet queen bee fluttering about in the basin. He asked, "What are you doing? It's like a newborn baby right now. The more it absorbs now, the better it will develop in the future." Sima Yue explained, "These are all ingredients that are useful to it." Buzz 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 dash. Those bees chased after them and looked at the 2 of them warily. Sima Yue looked at them and said, "I have already formed a contract with your queen bee. If you want to follow it, you can stay. If you don't want to, you can leave." Sima Yulin was angry when he saw those bees. However, things had already happened, and they had no way of changing it. They could only choose to stay by Sima Yu's side. There are so many bees. How are you going to deal with them? Sima Yulin looked at the thousands of bees and asked. I'll find a good place for them to stay. Sima Yue said. But we'll have to wait until the Scarlet Queen Bee is better. The Scarlet Queen Bee welcomed the sunlight and absorbed the essence of the water bit by bit. Sima Yue could feel that its strength was growing bit by bit, especially its mental strength. It was going through an earth-shattering change. As long as the conditions were right, it would be able to grow to a terrifying level. After half an hour, the Scarlet Queen Bee finally finished absorbing all the spirit liquid. With a flap of its wings, it flew out of the basin. Done. Sima Yue kept the basin and said, Scarlet Queen Bee, you can take your people to settle down first. She kept all the bees into the spirit pagoda. The environment there was enough to attract them. She was not afraid that Sima Yulin would find out about her secret. Right now, she had enough strength to protect her own things in this world. Her trump card was not just what they saw. If anyone had any ideas about her, they would have to be prepared to be killed. Furthermore, she believed that Sima Yulin would not do something like that, because he was a smart person. Chapter 242. Sima Yulin was shocked when he saw the horde of bees disappear. However, he did not ask anything. He merely asked, Are we going back now? No. Sima Yue said. Let's wait and then go back to look for the moon breath grass and sunset cloud flower. I hope they haven't been eaten by those spirit beasts. Then let's wait a little longer. Those spirit beasts should be returning soon. Sima Yulin said. Okay. They waited on the mountain for a while before riding Little Rock to the canyon. The canyon was in a mess. The grass had been trampled into pieces, and many trees had been chopped off. This was all caused by the previous battle. Sima Yue searched the canyon for quite some time, but she only found an incomplete moon breath grass. She also found a sunset cloud flower earlier, but the flower was broken and fell to the ground. It was trampled into mud by the spirit beasts. What a pity. She sighed as she held the half-dead moon breath grass. Let's expand our search area. Maybe we'll be able to find something. Sima Yulin said. I know where you can find the herbs you're looking for. The Scarlet Queen Bee suddenly transmitted her voice. You know, where? Sima Yue asked. My people gather honey everywhere. Of course we know where to find it. The Scarlet Queen Bee said. I'll let them bring you there. Sima Yue called out a brown bee. When the bee saw her, it said, I'll bring you there. They liked all the places Sima Yue had found for them, so they fell in love with her. As for Sima Yue, because she had contracted with the Scarlet Queen Bee, she could naturally understand the brown bee's language. Let's go. It will take us to find the moon breath grass and sunset cloud flower. She called Sima Yulin and followed the brown bee out of the canyon. The place that the brown wasp led them to was not far away, but it was rather difficult to find. After turning several exits, they entered another canyon. There's a lot of that hua you want, said the brown bee. Sima Yue saw a patch of moon breath grass and a sunset epiphyllum swaying in the wind at the foot of the cliff far away. She touched the brown bee's body and said, Thank you. There are so many moon breath grass, but they haven't been affected at all. They're even older than the remnant vermilion we saw just now. Sima Yulin said. It's not easy to find here, and there aren't any special treasures, so those spirit beasts usually don't come here. Brown Bee said. Also, you can't fly on this island, so there are even fewer spirit beasts here. We only come here when we're gathering honey. Let me see, we can fly on the other islands. Why can't we fly here? Sima Yue asked. I don't know. King once said that there is a terrifying existence on the island. It seems that it is because of it that we cannot fly. The brown bee flapped its wings and replied. Terrifying existence? Didn't Scarlet Queen Bee say anything? Sima Yu looked at Sima Yulin and told him what the bees meant. It seemed like he didn't know about this either. No, King just told us not to fly around randomly. We just have to obediently gather honey. Brown Bee said. All right, I got it. You can go back first. Sima Yue kept the bees away, saying, Let's start gathering the herbs. She handed a jade box to Sima Yulin, saying, I'll gather the moon breath grass. You can go over there. and picked the sunset cloud flower, and put it in the box. Sima Yulin nodded, took the box and walked over to the cliff. Sima Yue squatted down, took out a small shovel, and began to dig the moon breath grass. There were so many aged ones here, and it made her happy. There are no seaside herbs in the spirit pagoda. You have to keep these well. Otherwise, you won't be able to use them in the future. Very quickly, Sima Yulin came back with the box and dug the moon breath grass with Sima Yue. After the two of them had successfully swept the area, they sat on Little Rock and rushed back. Suddenly, they felt a terrifying aura coming from below Forgotten Worry Island. At the same time, all the beasts on the island went berserk, and those birds all flew into the sky. Sima Yue and Sima Yulin exchanged glances and got Little Rock to speed up. They quickly returned to the camp. "Young master, you're back." The great elder saw that they had returned and heaved a sigh of relief. "What happened? Why are those spirit beasts all here?" Someone asked. "I feel a dangerous aura. We have to leave this place quickly. I have a feeling that danger will happen if we don't leave." Sima Yue said. "But the moon breath grass and sunset cloud flower. We've already gathered them. There's no time to lose. Let's all sit on Little Rock's back and leave." Sima Yue said. The great elder looked at Sima Yulin and saw that he nodded as well, saying, "Get on the divine beast's back. We'll return to the ship immediately." The guards also felt the terrifying aura and jumped onto Little Rock's back. Little Rock flapped his wings and flew them towards the ship. Many flying spirit beasts also felt the danger and flapped their wings to escape. However, they were not fast enough and were left behind by Little Rock. They flew to the sea and saw the ship that was parked in the bay. "Something's not right," Sima Yue said when she saw that the flying spirit beasts in front of her were not moving at all. "Master, there's something blocking the way in front. I can't get out," Little Rock said. Sima Yue condensed her spiritual energy and attacked it. Her attack seemed to have met something and disappeared without a trace. Seeing this, everyone turned pale with fright. "Let me," the great elder shouted, and condensed his spiritual energy to attack it. The result was the same. It was silently destroyed. "What's going on?" someone cried out. Sima Yue let Little Rock land on the ground and looked at the faintly discernible obstruction. She called Little Roar out and threw him over, saying, "Go and try." "Ao, Yu, what are you doing?" Little Roar, who had just come out, did not understand the situation and cried out loudly, "We've been trapped by something inside. See if you have any ideas," Sima Yue said. "It hurts." Little Roar flew far away and fell to the ground. He stared at Sima Yue with grievance. However, it immediately sensed the dangerous aura and jumped up. F***CK, what's going on? What a scary aura. Sima Yue saw Little Roar fly out and knew that the thing would not be able to stop him. She urged, "Quickly get us out of here." "Oh." Little Roar ran over with his 4 limbs and short legs. He could not run fast no matter how hard he tried. After a while, he reached out his claws and made a blue circle near the ground. "The opponent is a little strong. I can only make this big one now." Sima Yue had seen this kind of blue circle before. She lowered her body and went out. The members of the Sima family did not dare to hesitate. One by one, they squatted down and went out of the circle. "Get on the boat." The great elder was the last to come out and ordered. The people on the boat had already noticed that something was wrong and waited for them to get on. When the boat left the shore, the members of the Sima family stood on the deck and felt like they had survived a disaster. "Look, what is that?" A guard pointed at Forgotten Worry Island and shouted. His words were filled with shock. Chapter 243. Everyone looked over and saw that the entire island was beginning to shake. The roars of the spirit beasts shook the sky. Every roar was filled with endless fear and despair. The spirit beasts fled in all directions on the island, but none of them could escape from that small island. An invisible cage trapped all the living creatures inside. All of a sudden, a black beam of light shot out from the center of the island and soared into the sky. It attracted all of the creatures on the island, and even the divine beasts with the strength of a spiritual venerable weren't spared. "That light is so evil." That terrifying aura from before must have come from this. What is that? Are all those creatures dead? If we were in there just now. Everyone's hearts trembled. They were glad that Sima Yue had brought them out. She saved everyone's lives. What on earth is that? Sima Yulan asked blankly. Sima Yulin's face was also filled with fear, saying, no matter what it is, it's not something we can touch. Little Roar looked at the beam of light and felt restless. He jumped out of Sima Yue's embrace and roared at the island. Roar! The beam of light seemed to pause for a moment before continuing to suck in the living beings. Sima Yue could feel Little Roar's restlessness and irritation, so she kept him into her spirit pagoda. Suddenly she felt a life form approaching the island. She looked up and saw a huge bird. Chongming. Chongming landed on the boat and looked at her. Then, he turned his gaze to the island with a solemn expression. Suddenly he moved. He flew into the air and launched a fierce attack at the beam of light, because the black light seemed to be dissipating. Everyone had an intuition that if they were swept by the black light, they would be swept in even if they were outside. Sima Yue watched as Chongming's attack broke through the barrier and hit the black light beam. The black light seemed to have sensed the danger and changed its direction to attack Chongming's flames. Bang! Everyone felt as if the world was shaking. If they were hit by such an attack, they would probably meet the King of Hell directly. So strong! Someone said softly after a long time. After the beam of light and Chongming's attack, it slowly weakened. Then, it retreated back into the island and disappeared. It was as if the terrifying scene had never happened. Everyone on the boat felt that the terrifying aura in their hearts had disappeared, and they could breathe again. The black light disappeared. I think I saw the god of death waving his hand. Fortunately he came. Otherwise we would probably have died here today. Thank you for saving our lives, Your Highness. The great elder and the people on the ship bowed and expressed their gratitude. Halcyon nodded, saying, set sail, let's leave this place. Yes. The great elder immediately ordered the ship to sail away from the island at the fastest speed possible. Everyone else left the island, and Sima Yue looked at Halcyon, saying, what are you doing here? After I returned, I heard that you came to Forgotten Worry Island. Halcyon said, I said that I would protect you as long as you were in this continent, so I naturally have to keep my word. What he didn't say was that when he heard that they came to the island, he immediately rushed here. He didn't expect to see that guy come out. Did you come because you were worried about me? Sima Yue smiled at Chongming. Narcissistic. Chongming replied her with 2 words. How am I narcissistic? Just worry about me. What's there to be embarrassed about? Sima Yue shamelessly grabbed Chongming's wrist. She wasn't afraid of him at all. The people on the boat were envious when they saw how close she was to the sacred beast. They already had so many sacred beasts. Now that they had such a good relationship with the sacred beast, they were envious. Chongming, did you come here when you were injured? Sima Yue asked. Yes. The Scarlet Queen Bee said that there was a terrifying existence below. Do you know what it is? Sima Yue asked. Chongming shook his head, saying, I received a request for help from a friend, and came here to get his descendant. I fought with the thing below and I couldn't beat it. Even you couldn't beat it? Sima Yue gasped. It should be trapped here. That's why I could barely beat it. If I fought against it, I wouldn't be its opponent. Chongming said. So scary. Sima Yue patted her chest, looking scared. Only Sima Yue didn't see any fear in her eyes. He believed that even if Chongming didn't come today, nothing would happen to her. You got the Scarlet Queen Bee? Chongming asked. Yeah. My luck isn't bad. Sima Yue said. Chongming nodded. He didn't push her hand away, saying, the last time I came, I realized that the brown queen bee was evolving. I didn't think that you would get it. This is called fate. Sima Yue said with a smile. Chongming smiled but didn't say anything. Her luck was very good. It should be said that her luck was very good. People with good luck had endless opportunities. This kind of person was usually born at the right time. He looked towards the direction of the island and muttered, it's coming. Hearing what he said, Sima Yue and Sima Yue's hearts sank. On the way back, Sima Yue and Sima Yue felt that the sea was unstable. The sea beasts they met were many times more than the ones they met before. They were also much stronger. There were even many spirit paragon-level divine beasts that came out in groups. Every time those sea beasts got close to them, Chongming would use his sacred beast aura to force them back. He didn't take their lives. The Sima family saw wave after wave of sea beasts retreat and rejoiced. It's a good thing that we have him. Otherwise, who knows how many things would have happened on our way back. Half a month later, they returned to An City. They changed to flying beasts and returned to Anyang City. Sima Lin was extremely happy when he knew that they had found the moon breath grass and sunset cloud flower. When he heard about what had happened on Forgotten Worry Island, his eyebrows furrowed, saying, "Are we really going to lose the sea?" Clan leader, the turbulence in the sea will definitely affect the land. We have to plan ahead. Eldest elder said. That is inevitable. However, our current situation is not good. We have to take care of both sides. Sima Lin said. However, the focus should still be on the younger generation. Clan leader, I feel that Sima Yue, that child, will be a great help to the rise of our Sima family. 10th elder said. Why do you say that? Sima Lin asked. That child is brave and resourceful. Even young Master Yulin, who has always been indifferent, is close to her. 10th elder said. If it weren't for her this time, not to mention finding the moon breath grass and sunset cloud flower, even we would have died on Forgotten Worry Island. I feel that she is someone who is born at the right time. She will change the world. Eldest elder said. Maybe we really have to rely on her. Sima Lin said. Once she came, little uncle's 100-year-old illness was cured. The truth of that year was also revealed. The previous clan leader's injuries also have hope of being cured. She even saved your lives. No wonder old ancestor said that she would be our lucky star. Chapter 244. Sima Yue did not care about how Sima Lin and the rest were discussing about her. All of her attention was on the Scarlet Queen Bee. Brother, is the Scarlet Queen Bee really that powerful? Little Two asked curiously as he laid on the table and looked at the Scarlet Queen Bee on Sima Yue's shoulder. Of course, Sima Yue said proudly. You'll know how powerful it is in the future. How much longer? Little Two curled his lips. Haha, soon. It has already started laying eggs these few days. Scarlet bees will come out. Soon, you will have scarlet honey to eat. Sima Yue said with a smile. What did you say you met when you left? Wei Ziqi asked. A strange black light soared into the sky and sucked in all the creatures on the island. Sima Yue's expression turned serious as she said, that black light is terrifying. Chongming said that the creatures under Wanyu Island are stronger than him. Was it suppressed there? Fatty Chu asked. We don't know either. Sima Yue said. But I have a feeling that once that creature comes out, it will be a disaster. Therefore, we must increase our strength as soon as possible. Anan, I've been training very hard recently. Little Two nodded. Not only will the sea be in danger, but the continent will also not be peaceful. Sima Yu said. The previous patriarch of the Sima clan was actually injured by someone. The person who injured him is definitely not an ordinary person or power. The Sima clan will definitely take revenge. I'm afraid there will be a storm when the time comes. Will you participate in the gathering 2 years later? Bei Gongtang asked. Let's see how it goes. Sima Yue said. Let's improve our abilities first. I heard that Sima Ke brought Sima Yue and the others to seek refuge with the Nailin clan. Ouyang Fei said. The Nailin family has always been at odds with the Sima family, and they have the power to go against the Sima family. It's expected that they would seek refuge with them. Sima Yue said. However, many of the Sima family's secrets were found out by the Nailin family. It will be very disadvantageous for the event 2 years later. Yue, are you thinking of making a move? Fatty Chu looked at her and chuckled. What do you mean by I want to take action? Sima Yue glared at Fatty Chu, unhappy that he had seen through her intentions. I've seen that you've been observing the Sima family all this while to see if they're suitable for the general and the others to stay. Now you should have approved of them. Wei Ziqi said. Bei Gongtang continued. Since you've already decided to let them stay, you would want to give them a more stable environment. However, the Sima family seems to be a fat piece of meat in the eyes of many powers. So we're guessing that you're about to make a move. Fatty Chu concluded. What kind of move can I make? I'm just a normal person. What can I do? Sima Yue said. Big brother is thinking of bad ideas again. Little Two laughed. When have I ever thought of bad ideas? Sima Yue stretched out her hand and knocked his head, saying, Big brother is pure and kind. You can't slander me, okay? Enough, don't teach him bad things. Bei Gongtang glared at Sima Yue. This guy's skin was getting thicker and thicker. Let's not talk about this first. I want you to go to the pagoda to cultivate. You can come out when you're about to advance in rank. Sima Yue said. If you don't want to go in, you can do it outside. We want to go in. Fatty Chu was the first to express his opinion. You've said it before. We've already gained enough experience. The main thing now is to calm down and cultivate. Your place is so good, of course we want to go. Us too. Wei Ziqi said. Big sister, where are we going? Little Two asked. We're going to a good place. Fatty Chu said. That place is our secret. You have to promise that you won't tell anyone. If not, we won't bring you along when we go. I definitely won't tell anyone. Don't leave me alone. Little Two said. We won't leave you behind. Bei Gongtang patted his head and said. Then tell the servant girls that you're going out. Okay. Sima Yue brought them along and left. Along the way, they chose a place where there was no one, and kept them in the spirit pagoda. Little Two was extremely happy when he went in. Bei Gongtang and the others brought him to familiarize himself with the environment inside. After that, they threw him to one side to cultivate. Sima Yue returned to the Sima residence. The moment she entered, someone said that Sima Lin was looking for her. She followed the guard to the main hall. At this moment, there were only 2 people in the main hall. Sima Yue cupped her hands and bowed to them. Clan head Great Elder. You were looking for me? Yue, it's all thanks to you that we were able to go out to sea this time. Otherwise, my Sima family would have lost many people. Sima Lin said. It's nothing much. I was just trying to protect myself at that time. Sima Yue replied. The other medicinal ingredients that you requested have already been gathered. When do you plan to start the treatment? Sima Lin said. Anytime is fine. Sima Yue said. But we have to refine the pill first. Then I'll give you the ingredients. Once you've refined the pill, just let us know if you need anything else. Sima Lin said as he passed a spatial ring to Sima Yue. It was filled with the ingredients that she had requested. Sima Yue took the ring and said, Okay. After that, she took her leave and returned to the courtyard that she was currently living in. That was originally Sima Jun's courtyard. However, after his injuries had healed, he said that he wanted to go out for a walk and see the outside world. He left 2 days after she had gone out to sea. Now, only Sima Lai and his grandson were living in this courtyard. Grandfather, I'm back. Sima Yue said when she saw that Sima Lai was not cultivating. How are those children doing? Sima Lai knew that she had gone to look for Wei Ziqi and the others and asked. They're all right. Sima Yue said. Grandfather, where are my brothers and the others? They're all in the house. What's wrong? Sima Lai asked. I have something to tell you. Sima Yue said. I'll call them out. Sima Yuming and the others had been focused on cultivating recently. They only found out that the people outside were much stronger than those in the Dongchen Kingdom when they came to the Central Wu Kingdom. Although they had advanced quite a bit, their current strength was still not enough. Yu, what did you call us over for? Sima Yuran asked. Sima Yue told them about the black light and the turmoil in the ocean before saying, I'll bring you to a place where you can cultivate faster and increase your strength. After speaking, she brought them all into the spirit pagoda. The surroundings suddenly changed and Sima Lai and the others were shocked. When they saw that Sima Yue was there as well, they did not move. Yu, where is this? Sima Yue asked. This is the spirit pagoda. It's a world of its own. 3 days here is equivalent to 1 day outside. Furthermore, the spiritual energy here is denser than outside. You can cultivate here, and your strength will definitely increase very quickly. Chapter 245. Your world. Sima Yuran lost his cool. This place actually belonged to her. Is it from the things your father left for you? Sima Lai asked. Yes, Sima Yue said. The thing in the box that father left behind. But at that time, it wasn't as good as it is now. This is the result after it merged with the library. Our library? Sima Yuming asked. Sima Yue nodded, and brought them to where little pagoda was. She said, the library pavilion is actually an ancient divine weapon with 7 levels. However, the weapon spirit has disappeared, so it is useless now. It can only be used as a storage. Later, I thought of a way to fuse it with the soul pearl, and it became what it is now. What does the top of the pagoda look like? Sima Yue asked. I don't know either. I haven't activated the 2nd level yet. Sima Yue said. I'll bring you to the place where you live now. She brought them to the front of the house, and seeing that Wei Ziqi was not cultivating, she let him bring them to understand the place, while she herself went into the pill refining room to refine pills. By the time she finished refining the pills and came out, Sima Lai and the others had already familiarized themselves with the things here, and had officially integrated into this place. Grandpa, big brother, if you have time, you should cultivate here, and try to raise your strength as soon as possible. You can do whatever you want and take whatever you need. Okay, go ahead. They nodded, and then went to do their own things, ignoring her. Sima Yue laughed, and shook her head when she saw how quickly they accepted the situation. Then she left in a flash. She then went to look for Sima Lin, and told him that she had already prepared the pills, and could go treat the previous patriarch. After that, she, Sima Lin, the great clan elder, and a clan's alchemist went to the cave together. This alchemist had always been a follower of the previous family head. He was here to assist Sima Yue. Sima Lin and the great clan elder worked together to remove the secret technique from the previous patriarch's body. Sima Yue immediately felt his life force slipping away. No wonder they had chosen to use the secret technique to preserve his life. She came up and fed the pill into his mouth. After that, she placed him into a bucket filled with medicinal ingredients. Using the pill, she began to reconnect his muscles and bones. The method was similar to the one she had used to save Bai Yuan Chun, but the difficulty was much higher. She stayed in the cave with the great elder for 3 days, and completely healed his body. Then, she had someone bring him back to Sima Jun's courtyard. At this moment, the previous head of the family was like a living corpse. Sima Yue had to wake him up, or else he would be in a deep sleep forever. However, she was too tired now and had to rest. Otherwise, she would collapse before she could save the other party. In the 2 days that she had been recovering her mental strength, Sima Yulin and Sima Yulan had been guarding her, protecting her. At the same time, they were also protecting the previous clan leader. If Sima Lin had sent an expert over, then the news of him being alive might have been leaked out. But sending a junior over would not attract the attention of others. Sima Yue opened her eyes and saw Sima Yulan and the others. She was stunned, saying, "What are you guys doing here?" "We're here to protect you," Sima Yulan said. "At the same time, we're here to see how you're going to save eldest grandfather." Sima Yue came down from the bed and saw that Sima Tai was sleeping beside her. "The clan leader sent you guys to protect us. He's really at ease," Sima Yue said as she put on her shoes. "Grandfather knows that you don't need protection," Sima Yulan said with a smile. Sima Yue rolled her eyes at her and took out the pill furnace. She took out the moon breath grass, sunset cloud flower, and a few other medicinal ingredients, and refined them together. After that, she put the brown honey in to refine it. She stopped the fire before it even formed a pill. "Aren't you going to refine a pill?" Sima Yulan came over and asked. "Who said that I didn't refine a pill?" Sima Yue took out a pill from the middle of the medicinal liquid and put it in Sima Tai's mouth. She got Sima Yulin to fill a bucket with water and poured the medicinal liquid from the pill furnace into the water. After that, she got him to bathe Sima Tai while she went out with Sima Yulan. Sima Yulin saw that Sima Yue was ordering him around like a servant, and his mouth twitched. However, he still resigned himself to his fate and went out. "Who asked him to be the only male here?" Sima Yulan saw that the courtyard was empty and asked, "Where's your grandfather and the others?" "They went out," Sima Yue said without blinking. Oh. Sima Yulan nodded. She saw that Sima Yue was staring at her with a strange expression. She subconsciously put her hands in front of her chest and asked, "Why are you looking at me like that? Do you know what kind of spirit beast's bloodline is in your body?" Sima Yue asked. Sima Yulan shook her head, saying, "Why are you asking this?" "Nothing much. I just want to use you as an experiment," Sima Yue said sheepishly. She didn't know the bloodline, so this was a little difficult. Sima Yulan's face was full of black lines. Using her as an experiment. "Why do I feel like you're a little dangerous?" Sima Yue smiled, saying, "No way. I'm so kind, pure and handsome, how could I be associated with danger? You must be mistaken." Sima Yulan pursed her lips. Only she would believe her. Inside the house, Sima Yulin stripped Sima Tai of his clothes and placed him in a bucket of water. He followed Sima Yue's instructions and directed the medicine into his body. However, even after the water had cleared up, he did not wake up. "Do I really have to do as she says?" He saw that Sima Tai showed no signs of waking up and said hesitantly. He raised his hand and put it down. After that, he raised it again and put it down again. "In order to wake eldest grandfather, I'll just have to be punished." After speaking, he gritted his teeth and slapped Sima Tai's face twice. The sound traveled outside. Slap slap. Sima Yue and Sima Yulan, who were chatting, were shocked and looked towards the house, saying, "He couldn't have really slapped eldest grandfather, right?" Uffed. Sima Yue spat out all the tea in her mouth, saying, "No way? I was just kidding." Slap slap. 2 more slaps were heard, and Sima Yue quickly put down the cup in her hand and pushed the door open. She happened to see an old man and a young man staring at each other. He really woke up. She muttered. She thought about how Sima Tai was still naked in the bucket of water. Although she could not see him from the door, she still retreated. "Brat, you dared to slap me." Sima Tai glared at Sima Yulin. Sima Yulin's scalp went numb, saying, You said that if the water cleared up and you didn't wake up, I should give your body some stimulation. She also said that the face was closer to the brain, so slapping would be more effective. "Who is you? Sima Tai asked with a dark expression. "She's Grandpa Lai's grandson. She's the one who saved you," Sima Yulin said. At this time, Sima Yue said from outside, "Big brother Yulin, don't slander me. I said that it might be effective. I didn't really ask you to slap me." Chapter 145. After settling the family matters, Sima Yue went to school. She had not graduated yet, and the principal knew that he had given her some time off. Seeing that the Sima family was on the right track, she went back to continue her studies. In fact, for the current her, there wasn't much she could learn here. But she didn't want to give up halfway. The Sima family also needed her attention, so she didn't plan to leave for the time being. When he returned to the dormitory, Wei Ziqi and the others had already gone to class. There was not a single person in the dormitory. Thinking back to the last time he was here, he was still a young master, who did not need to consider anything. The next time he was here, he had already become the head of the family. I'm sure no one has ever seen the head of the household come to school. After tidying up the house, it was already noon. Remembering that she hadn't eaten for a long time, she also wanted to thank everyone for their concern and help during this period of time. So she went to the kitchen to cook a few dishes. I knew it. Just by smelling this fragrance, I knew that Yue had returned. Fatty Chu's voice could be heard even before he arrived. His nose had always been very sensitive when it came to food. The 4 of them went to the kitchen and saw Sima Yue sitting at the table waiting for them. They walked over and sat down to eat. "Have you settled the matter?" Wei Ziqi asked. "Everything is almost on track. The rest will need to be done slowly." Sima Yue said that the most important thing now was to tame the hundreds of spirit beasts. However, the spirit beasts had not arrived yet, so she did not have to rush. "The speed at which your house was being built really blinded our eyes. We haven't gone out for a few days, and when we went out yesterday, we discovered that your house had already been built." Fatty Chu picked up a piece of meat and placed it in his mouth as he spoke. "Let's not talk about you guys. Even I was shocked." Sima Yue said. I went into seclusion for a few days. When I came out, I saw that the flat ground had turned into a courtyard. It was horrifying. I didn't know that houses could be repaired so quickly. I heard that it was because there were many people working together. That's why it was so fast. Wei Ziqi said. This is also good. You've recruited so many new people, so you need a place to make arrangements. Yes. Sima Yue nodded and asked, How have you been? The academy is pretty much the same as before. But now when we walk in the academy, we often meet some girls who come looking for us. Extremely annoying. Wei Ziqi said. Why? Sima Yue blinked. Could it be that both of you are in love? Did someone confess to you? It's not that our peach blossoms have blossomed, it's your peach blossoms that have blossomed. Sima Lin shook his head and said, If it was you, the clan would not be like this. I've kept this for you for 3 years. Now I'm returning it to you. As he spoke, he took out a box and handed it to Sima Tai. Sima Yue glanced at it and guessed that it was something like the patriarch's seal. That box is a treasure. She couldn't help but say, but it attracted the stares of a group of people. She shrunk her neck and stopped talking. Patriarch, this child is from Lai's bloodline. He was adopted by Lai. Sima Lin said. Amazing medical skills. Sima Tai looked at Sima Yue. Not only did she save him, his strength did not decrease at all. Among the doctors that he knew, there was no one who had this kind of medical skills. Thank you for your praise, Patriarch. Sima Yue cupped her hands and bowed, saying loudly, I haven't finished. Sima Tai said, Amazing medical skills, but he needs to be taught a lesson. He must have been spoiled by that guy Lai. Patriarch, you're right. Sima Yulan said with a smile. Ziqi and the others said that Grandpa Lai spoiled him a lot, even more than the other brothers. Sima Yue rubbed her nose. In any case, hearing Sima Tai's words, he probably wouldn't pursue this any further. Where's your grandpa? Sima Tai asked. Grandpa and the others have gone out. I don't know when they'll be back. Why don't I go look for them? Sima Yue said. Find them, and get them to go to the Great Hall. Sima Tai got off the bed and left after speaking. Sima Lin and the eldest elder followed him. Sima Yulan covered her mouth and looked at Sima Yue, still laughing at her. Sima Yulin walked over and raised his right hand high, looking like he was going to give her a tight slap. However, he stopped when it landed on her head and pinched her ear as punishment. Don't do it again. After speaking, he left as well. Seeing the helplessness in his eyes, she stuck out her tongue at his back. Who knew that he would turn around and see her like this? He was stunned for a moment before leaving with a smile. Sima Yue was stunned when he turned around. She didn't regain her senses even after he left the house. She then beat her chest and stomped her feet. Why did that guy turn around? Her image was gone just like that. Sigh. She let out a long sigh before leaving the Sima family. She found a place to call Sima Lai and the others out. What's wrong? Sima Lai asked. Grandpa, the previous clan leader has been cured by me. Grandpa Lin has returned the position of clan leader to him. They want to see you now. Sima Yue said. Sima Lai and the others knew that Sima Yue wanted to treat Sima Tai. They naturally believed in her medical skills. Now that they heard that Sima Tai had been cured, they weren't surprised. Since that's the case, let's go and see the clan leader. Sima Lai said. Big brother took good care of me and my brothers back then. Grandpa, can I not go? Sima Yue asked. Why? Sima Yue told him about how Sima Yulin had slapped Sima Tai a few times, saying, I'm afraid that he will come to settle the score with me. Sima Yuming and the other 3 brothers laughed. Sigh. Even if you wanted to make fun of Yulin, you shouldn't be like this. Sima Yuran patted her head. How would I know that he would really hit me? Sima Yue felt wronged. He's usually so smart, but at that time, he was actually so stupid. Even Sima Lai couldn't help but laugh, saying, Let's go. With me here, no one will harm you. In the end, Sima Yue still went with them. However, she stood at the back, trying not to attract anyone's attention. However, she was the one who had cured the clan leader. How could she be ignored? Every time someone mentioned that she had cured the clan leader, she felt that the palm print on the clan leader's face reddened. After that, everyone left, leaving behind only Sima Yue and Sima Tai. You got Yulin to hit me. Sima Tai spoke first. Isn't this over? Sima Yue muttered. I even saved you. Sima Tai nodded, saying, That's the truth. However, these are two different things. What should be given will be given, and what should be punished will be punished. Sima Yue's eyes widened, saying, You still want to punish me? Chapter 247. Sima Tai looked at Sima Yue's expression with satisfaction and said seriously, Of course, I've always been fair in my rewards and punishments. Then what's the reward? Sima Yue asked. Have you heard that my Sima family has a general election every few years? Sima Tai asked. Sima Yue nodded her head. At that time in the Dongqin Kingdom, Sima Lai had said that the Sima family had something big going on recently, so those people would not look for them so early. In the end, they still came not long after. What's wrong with the election? What does this have to do with rewarding me? Sima Yue was confused. 3 years ago it was already time for the election, but because I was injured and unconscious, they couldn't find the open mountain seal. Therefore, they didn't proceed with the next step after the election. Sima Tai said, What's next? Enter the ancestral land to search for opportunities. As Sima Tai said this, he couldn't hide the disappointment and worry on his face. What does this have to do with me? Sima Yue said. We didn't make it for the election. This is my reward for you. Sima Tai wasn't in a hurry. He said slowly, You and your 4 brothers can enter the ancestral land with them this time. Especially you. Originally, people who are not related by blood are not allowed to enter. But I will make an exception and let you in. Your family has been around for so many years. I guess you don't have many opportunities left. Sima Yue muttered softly. However, no matter how soft her voice was, it could not escape the ears of a spirit supremacy. Sima Tai laughed heartily and said, How could my Sima family's ancestral land be emptied so easily? You don't need to worry about that. Then why are you worried? Sima Yue asked. Isn't it because of this? Sima Tai sighed and shook his head. That's not what I'm worried about. It's just that the ancestral land hasn't passed down anything for a long time. The inheritance is broken. Sima Yue was shocked. This was related to the lifeline of a force. You could say that. Sima Tai sighed and said, My Sima family doesn't have as many people as the other first-rate powers, but we have always been among them for thousands of years, relying on our inheritance. That's why the Sima family is declining day by day. That's why they've become the target of others. Sima Yue understood. Sima Tai looked at Sima Yue with satisfaction. She was indeed very smart. Many people in the family did not realize this. She had just arrived, but she had already understood the situation that the Sima family was facing. The older generation is still alright. They aren't that weak. However, the younger generation, other than Yulin and a few others, isn't that outstanding. Sima Tai was worried. If this continued, the Sima family would be in danger in a few years. Can't you pass the inheritance to your juniors directly? Sima Yue asked. Many of those inheritances are direct benefits, such as increasing one's cultivation level. Very few people obtain spiritual techniques. Raging Flame Slash was passed down from the family land. Sima Tai said, It's a pity that many inheritances have been broken for some reason. I think Sima Tai was also heavily injured a few hundred years ago. Why do I still feel like this is a delicious cake that can be seen but not touched? Sima Yue said, Since no one has obtained much inheritance after so long, it's useless for me to go in. Moreover, I'm not of the Sima family's bloodline. You're indeed a smart brat. Sima Tai looked at Sima Yue in amusement. Many inheritances require the Sima family's bloodline to obtain, but some don't. Don't you want to see what you can obtain? Who knows, you might be able to obtain some benefits. Sima Yue rubbed her chin, her index finger touching the tip of her nose. She thought for a while and said, All right, my character has always been good. Who knows, I might be able to obtain some great fortune. Sima Tai was speechless. This brat was really narcissistic. All right, now we should talk about the punishment, right? Sima Yue heard and her face fell, saying, What punishment? Actually, it's very simple. Sima Tai smiled slyly. Sima Yue saw his smile and felt a chill run down her spine. She felt as if she had been targeted by an old fox. As expected, when she came out of the hall, Sima Yue's face was full of bitterness. She turned around and glared at the entrance of the hall, sighed and left. In the hall, Sima Tai touched his swollen face and chuckled. Nobody has ever slapped my face before. Did you think that these 2 slaps were so easy to give? If Sima Yue heard what he said, she would definitely vomit blood. The one who had been slapped was obviously not her. Sima Yue was fine, but she was the one who had been oppressed. When she returned to the house, Sima Lai and the others were waiting for her. When they saw her come out with a bitter face, they asked, "Did the clan leader make things difficult for you?" Sima Yue nodded, then shook her head and sighed. "Fifth bro, is the clan leader going to chase you out? If that's the case, we'll leave together." Sima Yue said. "No," Sima Yue said. "He just ruthlessly oppressed me." "How did he oppress you?" Sima Lai was curious. He used to think that Sima Tai was a little fox, but now he was definitely an old fox. "He asked me to increase the strength of the younger generation," Sima Yue said. "That old fox better not let me get hold of his weakness, or else, humph. Ah, isn't that making things difficult for you?" Sima Yue was anxious. Sima Yue frowned, saying, "You saved his life, but that's not enough to compensate for those 2 slaps?" He said that we should follow the disciples who were chosen 3 years ago to enter the clan grounds. Sima Yue said, "He also said that if I'm willing to use this reward to compensate for the punishment, it's fine." "Then why don't you compensate for it?" Sima Yue looked at her as if she was stupid. "It said that the clan grounds only open once every 10 years. It's a rare opportunity. Who knows, you might be able to obtain some kind of opportunity or inheritance. How could you use it to compensate for it?" Sima Yue said. "In any case, I don't need to provide the ingredients for those pills. At most, I'll provide some pill recipes, refine some pills, tame some spirit beasts and so on. Furthermore, taming spirit beasts will give me benefits." Sima Yue and the others understood. She wasn't dissatisfied with Sima Tai punishing her, but she was unhappy that she was forced to accept it. "Sai, you guys wait for them to call you to go to the clan grounds. I'm going to make some food to comfort my hurt heart. Sai, I was the one who saved him. There's no justice in this." Sima Yue whined as she ran to the kitchen to make some food. Seeing her like this, Sima Yue and the other 3 brothers couldn't help but laugh. Ever since she was beaten at the age of 15, and her temperament changed, they had never seen her suffer. The clan grounds are a good place. Who knows, you might be able to find some kind of opportunity. In the past, there were spirit kings who went in and spirit overlords who came out. There might even be people who can learn some unique spirit skills. Sima Lai said, "You guys have to make good use of this opportunity. This is something that you fought for you." "We will." The 4 of them nodded. At this time, the sound of meat being chopped came from the kitchen, accompanied by the sound of someone gnashing his teeth. "Today, we'll have fox meatballs for lunch. I'll chop chop chop." Chapter 248. 2 days later, Sima Yue came over and told them to go to the main house. He said that he wanted to go to the ancestral land. "What are you eating?" He came to Sima Yue's side and asked when he saw her eating. He smelled the fragrance as soon as he entered the courtyard. Sima Yue raised her head and looked at him. Then, she pointed at the dishes on the stone table and said one by one, "This is braised fox, steamed fox head, spicy fox leg, shredded fox meat soup, fox barbecued." Sima Yue's face was full of black lines. Did this guy have a grudge with the fox? After Sima Yue finished her introduction, she raised her head and asked, "Do you want some?" After saying that, he handed him a fox leg. Sima Yue took the fox leg and took a bite. It was crispy on the outside and tender on the inside, fragrant and spicy. It was delicious. Sima Yue and the others came out from the house and saw Sima Yue eating happily. They smiled and said, Yu's cooking isn't bad, right?" Delicious." Sima Yue nodded as he ate. Sima Yue rolled her eyes and said, Since it's so delicious, why don't you give it to the family head? I've been eating fox every day for the past few days, and I'm a little sick of it. I should thank the patriarch for allowing us to go to the ancestral land. Sima Yuyang nodded, saying, Okay, I'll take it over first. Remember to go to the main house early tomorrow. All right. Sima Yu beamed as she said. She watched as Sima Yuyang kept the table of fox meat into his interspatial ring and left. Ha ha ha. She slapped the table and laughed happily. Sima Yuming shook his head, saying, You. Sima Yuyang had gone out a few days ago, and had only returned 2 days ago. The moment he came back, he heard that his grandfather had been saved by Sima Yu. He was very grateful to her. This guy really dares to do anything. He was Sima Tai's grandson, so how could he not know what happened between her and his grandfather? Thinking of the table full of fox meat in his ring, he was a little curious about his grandfather's expression when he saw it. Grandfather. He came to Sima Tai's study room. He was the only one there. Have you informed him? Sima Tai asked without raising his head. I've already told them. Sima Yuyang said. I even brought some good stuff over from there. Yu said that it was a gift for you. Oh. Sima Tai raised his head and looked at him. Seeing the smile in his eyes, he knew that it was not something good. Sima Yuyang walked over, and with a wave of his hand, the large table was filled with delicacies. The room was immediately filled with the aroma of meat. This was made by Yu. She said that it was to thank you for letting them go to the ancestral grounds. She asked me to let you have a taste. Sima Yuyang said with a smile. What are these? Sima Yuyang introduced them one by one. This is braised fox, steamed fox head, spicy fox leg, shredded fox meat soup, fox barbecued. The corner of Sima Tai's mouth twitched, but it didn't escape Sima Yuyang's eyes. He was laughing in his heart, but he didn't dare to show it. Sima Tai took a bite of the fox leg and said, Go tell her that it tastes good. It's a pity that the fox is too old and affects the taste. Why don't we change it to a few little foxes? When Sima Yu heard what Sima Yuyang said, the hand that was chopping the fox meat paused for a moment, then said, My fox meatballs definitely won't let him say that the meat is too old. After speaking, she started chopping fiercely. Sima Yuyang looked at her with a smile, willing to be their messenger. An old fox against a little fox. This was the first time he had seen someone go against his own grandfather. Once the meatballs were done, Sima Yuyang tasted some, and took a bowl to look for Sima Tai. After a while he came back with news saying, The meatballs are delicious. Next time, I want to eat roasted chicken. Clang dash. Sima Yu slashed the knife in her hand fiercely on the chopping block, gritting her teeth and saying, You still treat me as a chef. This young master is tired today. I'm not cooking anymore. Sima Yuyang passed the message to Sima Tai, and Sima Tai merely smiled, saying, A little fox is a little fox. However, the fox meatball dish was stopped because of this. On the next day, Sima Yu and her 4 brothers went to the main house together. The huge house was already filled with over 100 youths. I didn't feel it before, but now I realized that the Sima family really has a lot of people. Sima Yu stood at the side of the house and sighed. And this is just a selection. Sima Yu said. It's said that only 150 people can enter at a time. Otherwise, there will be more people. Sima Kai's group of people left, so we used their quota. Sima Yuming said. In any case, it doesn't affect the others. That old fox. Sima Yu clenched her teeth. Everyone knew that Sima Yu had saved the clan leader, and the clan leader had promised to let them enter the clan together. As a result, when they saw that they had returned, nobody had any objections. Instead, they greeted them in a friendly manner. Sima Tai, Sima Lin, and a group of elders came to the house and swept their eyes over the people in the house. When they saw a certain someone's sour face, the old fox smiled unkindly. He waved his hands, and the whole house quietened down. 3 years ago, you passed the selection. However, because I was injured and unconscious, you have not been able to enter the clan until now. Today, I will open the clan grounds for you. You can go in and look for your opportunities. He glanced at Sima Lin. and Sima Lin inserted spiritual energy into a few places. The whole house flashed with light, and the ground flashed with light. It was actually a teleportation array. Sima Yu felt a wave of dizziness. When her feet touched the ground, they had already left the Sima residence and appeared in a valley. Which mountain is this? It doesn't seem to be the mountain range behind us. That's not right either. This place shouldn't be far from the clan. While everyone was guessing the location, Sima Yu was thinking about the teleportation array just now. There wasn't a teleportation array drawn on the ground. He only used spiritual energy to draw a temporary teleportation array. Grandpa Lin's attainments in arrays are definitely not low. When I have time, I can look for him to give me some pointers, she said in her heart. Ever since Feng Jixing left, she had been fumbling around with arrays on her own. Although her array skills were not bad, if she could get some pointers from Sima Lin, she would definitely improve. After the clan grounds open, you can go in and look for your opportunities. You have 2 days, Sima Tai said. 2 days so short? Everyone exclaimed. Let me finish speaking. Sima Tai waved his hands and said, the inside is different from the outside. 1 day outside is more time inside, so you have 2 months inside. Wow, that's great. Sima Yu's heart skipped a beat. This was similar to the Spirit Pagoda. Some inheritances require you to go through trials. Once you go in, you must grab hold of the opportunity. After saying that, he took out a small seal and placed it in a groove at the foot of the mountain. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The wall shook, and a human-sized cave appeared. A white light shone from the mountain and shone on the young man. After the white light passed, only Sima Tai and the elders were left in the valley. Chapter 249. Sima Yue was sucked into the white light. When she opened her eyes again, she and her 4 brothers were already standing in another place. This is a grassland. Everyone looked at the scene in front of them in surprise. The grass was luxuriant and stretched as far as the eye could see. If this was not a grassland, then what was it? This is the clan's land? There's nothing, Sima Yue said. Sima Yue looked at it and said, I think so. That old fox didn't say what this place was like, but he did say that there were a lot of opportunities. It should be a very wide range. There's nothing here. What kind of opportunity or inheritance can we get? Sima Yue said, this was originally an opportunity for us. We'll get whatever we can get. If we can't, we'll just take it as a chance to see what the clan's land is like. Sima Yuming's heart understood. Sima Yuran nodded as well, saying, since Patriarch has said that the number of inheritances has been decreasing in recent years, I'm guessing that the number of things here should be decreasing as well. You're right. Sima Yue nodded. Seeing Sima Yu looking around curiously, he asked, Yu, what are you looking at? I'm wondering if this place is like the Spirit Pagoda, inside a spiritual weapon. Sima Yue replied, of course not. Little Spirit exclaimed, I'm the only life spirit weapon in this world. How could there be a spirit weapon here? If it's not a spirit tool, then what is it? Sima Yuran asked. With a wave of energy, Little Spirit appeared in Sima Yu's embrace. Ever since it became a spirit pagoda, it could leave the spirit pagoda and go outside. He looked around and said, this should be a paradise. Heavenly abode? Everyone looked at Little Spirit and asked, what is a heavenly abode? It's just some small worlds in the space. Little Roar opened his mouth and said, in the primordial lands, many clans have such places. Usually, it is a space opened up by the ancestors who have achieved great success. The Sima family actually has a place like this. Sima Yuchi said. Who knows, this Sima family might have moved down from the upper realm. Little Roar said. This kind of heavenly paradise is not something that this world's power can possess. Maybe that's the case. Sima Yue said. A day outside is equivalent to a month inside. It would be great if we could cultivate here forever. It's not impossible. Little Roar said. This kind of space is based on the strength of the person who created it. Some could only stay in there for a few days, while others could stay in there for a few years. The most amazing ones were the Shadow Clan of the Desolate Era. They lived in such a space. 2 months should be the limit for this place. There are people who live in this kind of space. Sima Yuli's eyes widened. Yeah. Little Roar nodded his head and said, however, that kind of place is only slightly denser in spiritual energy. The flow of time is the same as outside. I see. Sima Yulu was a little disappointed. Of course. Little Roar rolled his eyes at Sima Yulu saying, everything in this world has its own set of rules. It's impossible for everything to be the same. Otherwise, this world would fall into chaos. What's the point of thinking so much? Sima Yu Ran knocked on Sima Yuli's head saying, since we're here, let's take a look around and see if we can find anything. Sima Yua kept Little Spirit away and hugged Little Roar. She and the others randomly chose a direction and left. Hey, we can't fly in here. It's true. Then we can only use flying beasts. Sima Yua called out Little Rock. Before they even took off, they heard a commotion. Someone was flying towards them. It's Sima Yulin and Sima Yulan. There's also Sima Yuqing and Sima Yulin. Why are they being chased by a group of spirit beasts? Those spirit beasts, damn, they're all divine beasts. Quickly get on Little Rock's back. Sima Yuu's expression was serious. With so many divine beasts, they couldn't fight them head-on. She shouted at Sima Yulin and the others. Sima Yulin saw them and said, hold on a little longer. Let's go to Yuu's side. Sima Yulan and the others originally didn't have much energy left. When they saw Little Rock, they used their last bit of energy to run over. Little Rock waited for them to all come up before spreading his wings and flying away, leaving behind those divine beasts to stare. Sima Yuyang directly lay on Little Rock's back saying, it's so good to have a flying beast. We can even fly in this kind of place. I'll go look for one when we get back. I couldn't even run just now. If we didn't meet you guys, we would be in danger. Sima Yuqing said gratefully. How did you guys meet those divine beasts? Sima Yuqi asked. We didn't meet them at all. Sima Yuqing sighed saying, the four of us just happened to fall into their midst when we arrived. Don't even mention how tragic it was. Sima Yua smiled saying, the four of you are the best of the younger generation in the Sima family. Who would have thought that your luck would be so good that you would directly meet a group of divine beasts? If we could bring these divine beasts out, wouldn't the Sima family be even stronger? Sima Yula said. That's impossible. Sima Yuyang sat up saying, those who can enter are all below the age of 35. At most 150 people can enter each time. And those spirit beasts have lived for hundreds to thousands of years. Almost all of them have become divine beasts. How would we be able to defeat them? Let's not even talk about bringing them out. If we meet them, it's already not bad that we can preserve our lives. It's not that no one has ever thought about taking advantage of the divine beasts here. But in the end, they could only watch as these divine beasts became stronger and stronger. Occasionally, someone would be able to tame one or two, but they couldn't bring them out. Because there was no way to form a contract, they couldn't leave this place. Sima Yulin added. For those below the age of 35, even if they are beast tamers, their ranks won't be very high. They won't be able to tame these divine beasts. Sima Yuqing said with a sigh. If the divine beasts here could be brought out, our Sima family's strength would increase by a lot. It's a pity. Sima Yulan said regretfully. Sima Yuyu rubbed her chin and looked at the divine beasts below, saying, we have to think of a way to get rid of them all at once. Yuyu, forget it. Didn't I say that we have to tame them and bring them out? Otherwise, they won't be able to leave. Sima Yuyang said. Hee. Sima Yuyu smiled and didn't say anything else. Only her brothers and Sima Yulin knew that she wasn't joking. Chirp chirp dash. They had just flown over the plains and climbed over a mountain when a flock of birds suddenly appeared behind them. Goshawks, giant eagles, vultures and so on. They all chased after them. Damn, there are so many birds. Sima Yuyang saw those birds and jumped up excitedly. It was a pity that he could only look at them. He couldn't have them. Who dash? That giant eagle spat out a ball of fire. Little Rock dodged to the side, barely avoiding it. These birds are very fierce. They're chasing us now. We can only hide. Sima Yuqing looked at those birds. Every single one of them had a fierce gaze. as if they wanted to eat them all. Ate just right. Sima Yu said as she looked at them. Since we've met, I'll give you a gift. Yu Yang, didn't you say that you wanted a flying beast? Little rock land on the ground. Chapter 250. No way, Yu. This isn't the time to joke around. If we get caught by them, we'll lose our lives. Sima Yu Yang cried out. Although he really wanted Fei Niao, he was not going to trade his life for it. He hadn't lived long enough. What are you afraid of? I'm here. I'll give you a big bird today. Sima Yue said with a smile. Little rock brought them down to the ground. Sima Yue took advantage of the time when the flying beasts were chasing after them to throw something into the ground. It's been a long time since we've met a human. Today, we can have a good meal, said the goshawk. 9 people. We can get 1 person. Vulture's voice was sharp and full of hostility. I want that brat in the middle. His skin is soft and tender, so he should be more delicious. A giant condor said. Then I want that girl. Sima Yue was speechless as she looked at the huge birds. Instead of attacking them, they started to split their heads. They were really looking down on them. Hey, did you ask for our permission to split the spoils like this? She asked, attracting the attention of the group of giant birds. This little baby is talking to us? The giant eagle said in disbelief. I think so. Do we still need to ask for the food's permission when we're distributing it? Jun Yao stared at her with a terrifying gaze. Sima Yue was not frightened. She smiled and said, We don't intend to be your food. Instead, we want you to be our contracted beasts. Contract beast? The big birds were stunned at first. Then they laughed. Humans like you want us to be your contract beasts? What shameless boasting. My brothers have taken a liking to you. It's your honor to be contracted with you. Sima Yue said. Come over if you're obedient, or I'll beat you up until you surrender. Sima Yu Yang and the others looked at Sima Yu, their faces full of worship. This was what a powerful person should be like. She even dared to say this to a group of spirit beasts. What arrogance! Since you're in such a hurry to die, I'll fulfill your wish. I'll kill all of you first, then we'll divide them. Goshawk snorted coldly. Little rock flew in front of Sima Yue and shouted, Who dares to hurt my master? Goshawk glanced at Little Rock and said, It's just a 2nd-level divine beast, and it wants to stop us? You're just a group of level 3 and 4 divine beasts. How dare you scold my spirit beasts? Be careful, I'll roast a bird if I'm unhappy. Sima Yu shouted. Not only Sima Yu Yang, but even Sima Yu Lin was stunned. This guy's tone was too big. Good. I'll kill your contract beast first, then I'll kill you. Goshawk was furious. Is my contracted beast something you can kill just because you want to? Sima Yue glanced at Goshawk and said, I'll say it again. If you know what's good for you, hurry up and let us form the contract. Otherwise, I'll beat you into submission. What an arrogant human. Vulture said, I want to see how you're going to beat us into submission today. A 2nd-level divine beast is not enough. Even with the few of you, you won't be able to beat us. Goshawk said, Who said we're going to fight you? Sima Yue said, Hey, you should all have divine beasts, right? Call them out. They want to bully us with so many divine beasts. We have to fight them back. Sima Yu Yang and the others were speechless, but they could only call out their own contracted beasts. For more, but it's still not enough. Vulture said with a big smile. Enough, what's the point of playing with them? Just kill them all. A 5th-ranked black eagle said impatiently. Don't. Vulture said. It's been so many years since someone came in. Now that a few people have come in, let's play. What's there to play? The black eagle scolded. Cultivation is more important. A spirit paragon ranked divine beast. Sima Yue looked at the black eagle, her eyes shining. Big brother, how about this one? Do you like it? Not bad. Sima Yuming nodded. Then it's settled. This black eagle is my big brother's. Sima Yue said. Hey, what's your name? Do you want to choose one now? Or do you want to wait until you defeat them? Everyone looked at her speechlessly. Even if they had 4 more divine beasts now, it wouldn't be enough to defeat them. Furthermore, their divine beasts were all 1st or 2nd ranked. They were much weaker than their opponents. What arrogance! The giant eagle snorted. Little wasp, someone bullied me. You have to help me beat the bad guy. Sima Yue said as she called out the Scarlet Queen Bee. Scarlet Queen Bee. The big birds recognized the Scarlet Queen Bee and were extremely happy. If I eat it, I'll be able to break through 3rd rank and become a 4th-ranked divine beast. Don't even think about it. Little wasp is mine. Sima Yue hugged the Scarlet Queen Bee, saying, 1,000 resonance, Guang, you guys come out as well. At the same time, 2 divine beasts came out. 1,000 resonance was the same rank as Onyx. Guang had also grown to become a 2nd-ranked spirit beast because of Sima Yue. It's 8 against 8 now. With little roar, it's 9 against 8. Sima Yue said, brothers, call out your spirit beasts as well. Sima Yuming and the others nodded and called out their own spirit beasts. Although they weren't divine beasts yet, they were close to becoming divine beasts. When Sima Yulin and the others saw this, they called out their other contracted beasts as well. As expected, they were all high-ranked saint beasts. It's useless no matter how many spirit beasts you bring. Goshawk said. What's the rush? I haven't finished calling them out. Sima Yue said. 1,000 resonance. Do you have any objections if I call out your clansmen? 1,000 resonance nodded, saying, they've been in there for too long. They want to fight too. That's good. After Sima Yue finished speaking, another group of divine beasts appeared beside them. Ha ha ha. It's been a long time since I've fought with others. My fists are itching. A 5-tailed fox came out and roared with laughter. So many divine beasts. Sima Yuyang felt that he had been greatly stimulated today. He looked at Sima Yue with eyes that were about to pop out. Sima Yulin was shocked as well. He didn't think that apart from having 4 divine beasts and a spirit beast of unknown rank, she actually had so many divine beasts. When the big birds saw that 5 or 6 divine beasts had suddenly appeared, and their ranks were about the same as theirs, they were shocked silly. It was no wonder she was so calm. She had nothing to fear. Black Hawk's aura became wild. This kind of scene was really out of his expectations. He didn't think that the insignificant humans in their eyes would have so many divine beasts. Their strength was so much higher than theirs. Retreat! Black Hawk didn't lose his mind. After weighing the strength of both sides, he quickly made a decision. Sai, we're already here. I haven't even beaten you into submission. How can we leave? Sima Yue said. Even if you are stronger than us now, it is still impossible for you to catch us. Vulture was no longer playing around and became serious. Are you saying that you have wings to fly away? Sima Yue said with a smile. I forgot to tell you. Ever since you came in, this place has been sealed. You can't fly away now. Chapter 251. A big bird didn't believe it. It snorted coldly and wanted to fly up into the sky, but after flying a few meters, it couldn't fly any higher. What did you do? That large bird was alarmed and roared. I didn't do anything. I just left some things here. As Sima Yue spoke, she injected some spiritual energy into the ground. The spiritual energy did not dissipate, but rushed around the ground and formed a large array. Spatial sealing array. Sima Yulin understood and cried out in surprise. Sima Yue glanced at him. She did not expect him to recognize the array. That's right. The moment she landed on the ground, she set up a space sealing array. When those big birds landed, she secretly activated the array and sealed the space here. Sima Yulin was once again stunned by Sima Yu. Apart from being an alchemist and a beast tamer master, she was also an array master. That move of hers just now was not something an ordinary person could do. Is he even human? He couldn't help but curse in his heart. Even someone as intelligent as him was greatly provoked by her. When he was with her, no matter how amazing the person was, he would only be reduced to a supporting role. All right, the door is already closed. Let's take care of them now. Today we must beat them into submission. After Sima Yu finished speaking, she pulled Sima Yuming and the others out, allowing the group of spirit beasts to gang up on them. Ah! Who hit my eyes? Ouch! Sima Yue looked at the scene and said faintly, I think ganging up is not bad. It's a pity that my mental strength is full now. Otherwise, I could contract 2 more mythological beasts and have an army of beasts when I go out in the future. I can beat up whoever I don't like. How cool would that be? The faces of the people behind him were filled with black lines. This guy was still lamenting that his spiritual power was full? Did she even consider their feelings? In the end, not a single one of the 8 birds managed to escape. They were all beaten, until they lost the ability to move and lay on the ground. Only their eyes were still filled with unwillingness. Sima Yue walked over and said, "Just accept it. You'll only be able to stay in this small place forever. You might as well be contracted and go outside to see the world." "We don't accept it." Goshawk glared at Sima Yue. "There's nothing you can do even if you accept it. I'm not here to talk terms with you. You are now my brothers. If you accept it, you'll accept it later." After speaking, Sima Yue placed her hand between the goshawk's eyebrows and activated the Imperial Beast art to tame it. He. Is she still a beast tamer? At that time, I think I was only 15, not 16. Sima Yue replied. 19 years old alchemist. Beast tamer. Heavens. Let me die. I want to start my life all over again. Sima Yue howled. You missed something. He's an array master. Sima Yulin added. We didn't know that 5th bro would become an array master. But I don't think I'd be surprised if he said he was an armament master. Sima Yuran said. He's really abnormal. Sima Yuyang was stunned for a long time before he spat out this sentence. The spirit beasts that 5th bro tamed are different. You'll know when you contract them. Sima Yula said with a smile. There's something special about beast taming? Sima Yuyang looked at Sima Yula. That guy didn't say anything. 2 days later, Sima Yue finished taming the 8 big birds. She stood up and saw everyone's shocked expressions. What's wrong with you guys? You've tamed 8 divine beasts. Sima Yulan said blankly. Sima Yue nodded, saying, That's right. I've already tamed all 8. You guys can go and choose the ones you like. We're not talking about this. We want to ask if you're not tired from taming so many divine beasts. Sima Yuqing said, I'm a little tired. I can't take so much spirit energy. Sima Yue said, You guys can contract them yourselves. I'm going to rest for a while. After speaking, she sat down on the empty ground and began to digest the energy that the tamed beasts gave her. Since the Black Hawk is Big Brother Yu Ming's, we'll choose the remaining one. Sima Yuqing said, I like that big vulture. I want it. Sima Yula said, Then I'll choose that goshawk. Sima Yuyang didn't stand on ceremony and went up to hug the goshawk. Very quickly, everyone chose the ones they liked and prepared to contract them. I remember now. Yulu, what's the special thing you were talking about? Sima Yuyang prepared to contract them and suddenly asked. You'll know when you're done. Sima Yula said as he began to contract his big vulture. At this time, Sima Yue's body lit up with the light of advancing in rank, attracting everyone's attention. 5th ranked spirit overlord. This guy, can't he not attack us? Sima Yuyang's mouth twitched. He had the urge to beat him up. Comparisons are odious. His talent is even better than Big Brother Yulin's. Sima Yuqing said. Sai, quickly contract them. I really don't want to see him. Sima Yulan said. Right now, she felt that her talent wasn't even worth mentioning. The 8 of them formed their contracts one after another. After the light of their contracts faded, Sima Yulin and the others were shocked. However, seeing how calm Sima Yuming and the others were, they knew that this was the special thing that they were talking about. You can advance in rank after forming a contract. This is the first time I've heard of it. After it ended, Sima Yuyang was still in a daze. He felt that it was too surreal for him to have advanced by 2 ranks just like that. That's because the divine beast you formed a contract with is of a high rank. Otherwise, how could you advance by 2 ranks? Sima Yulin understood the mystery and said. Sima Yuyang tossed his hair, saying, No matter what, I've advanced by 2 ranks. Haha, it's too incredible. Those big birds were no longer calm. They looked at each other and said, I actually advanced in rank. I haven't advanced in rank for a long time. Me too. If I knew that I could advance in rank, we wouldn't have fought. Isn't that so? Sima Yulu patted the vulture's head, saying, You guys will definitely become stronger if you follow us. Yu's spirit beasts will grow along with their master's strength. Sima Yang was walking when he almost tripped over his own feet. He turned around and looked at the person who was still in meditation. His intuition told him that she still had many secret weapons. She still had many abilities. Furthermore, the Sima family would once again become the pillars of the Yilin continent because of her arrival. Chapter 252. By the time Sima Yue recovered, everyone had already formed the contract and was waiting for her. Yu, have you recovered? Sima Yang was sitting beside her. When he saw that she had woken up, he beamed as he asked. Sima Yue was shocked and said, Why are you smiling so slyly? Are you up to no good? I don't have any bad intentions. I just want to ask about those foxes of yours. Before Sima Yang could finish speaking, Sima Yu immediately stretched out a hand and covered his mouth, saying, Those are Thousand Resonance's clansmen. Don't you dare have any ideas about them. Sima Yang took her hand away, saying, I don't have any ideas about them. I just want to ask, the fox dishes you made a while ago, were they chosen from them? How is that possible? Those were all from the back of the mountain. Sima Yue retracted her hand, stood up and said, Since everything is done, let's leave this place. I'll withdraw the array formation first. She went to collect all the materials. These were rare materials and could not be wasted. Let's go. Let's continue searching for opportunities. She looked at the vulture and goshawk, causing them to feel a chill down their spines. Why did they feel that the opportunity was theirs? Although each of them had a flying beast, they still sat on Little Rock's back, glorifying it as Little Rock flies fast. Little Rock led them through the grassy plains and over the tall mountains. They saw some disciples of the various clans, and soon after, they arrived at the foot of a mountain. Grandfather said before that many opportunities lie here. Sima Yang said, Then let's go into the mountains to search. Everyone dismounted from Little Rock's back. Some of the disciples who had arrived here first came over to join them. Why are you all outside? Aren't you going to enter the mountain? Sima Yulin asked with a frown. There are many divine beasts in the mountain. We don't dare to enter. A branch disciple said. There are divine beasts. Sima Yu's eyes lit up. She rubbed her chin and said, Why don't we kill them all? Do you know how many divine beasts there are? There should be quite a few of them. The disciple said, Oh, why don't we keep those divine beasts first before going to look for opportunities? Sima Yu asked Sima Yulin. In any case, she did not have the bloodline of the Sima family, and those inheritances would not belong to her. She might as well help the people of the Sima family improve their strength first, so that the old fox would have nothing to say. Sima Yulin, as the number one of the younger generation, would naturally think for the clan. It was important to increase the overall strength of the clan, so he agreed to Sima Yu's suggestion. He let the person who came first lead the way, and the group of people went to wipe out the divine beasts. When those people heard it, they were so scared that they trembled. However, when they saw that Sima Yang and the others had called out their own divine beasts, they relaxed and led them into the mountains to look for their divine beasts. 5 to 6 divine beasts were cultivating by the lakeside. When they saw someone approaching, they wanted to scold him, but they found themselves surrounded by a group of divine beasts. Are you going to submit yourselves, or are you going to wait for us to beat you into submission? The young man in the lead was very arrogant. Who do you think you are? How dare you speak to us like this? The divine beast in the lead asked coldly. Boss, that looks like those big birds from the grassy plains. The divine beast in the back said. It's really them. Why are they with the humans? You're asking me, but how would I know? They seem to have been contracted by someone. It's true. Then they're going to help the humans deal with us? I'll give you the time it takes for a stick of incense to burn to decide. Are you going to submit yourselves, or are you going to be beaten into submission? The young man in the lead said. It was impossible for them to submit to the humans. As such, after the time it took for a stick of incense to burn, the young man in the lead waved his hand, and the group of divine beasts attacked them, beating a few divine beasts to the ground. Sima Yu walked over and squatted beside the divine beast in the lead, saying, You already said that you're going to submit, but you just had to suffer this beating. Isn't the result the same? Be obedient and let me tame you. After speaking, she placed her hand on the divine beast's forehead and began to tame it. When the disciples of the Sima family saw that Sima Yu was actually taming a divine beast, they were all shocked speechless. Sima Yu saw their expressions and nodded satisfactorily. It seemed that he was not the only one who was shocked silly. Let's go. We'll take this opportunity to catch a few more divine beasts and wait for those flutes to come so we can contract them. Sima Yulin said. Master, I know where the divine beasts are. Vulture shamelessly sold out all the divine beasts in the clan. After hearing what he said, everyone was speechless. There were actually so many divine beasts here. It was no wonder that many people died every time they came in. Close to 100 divine beasts. This kind of power was definitely a force to be reckoned with in the Sophia mountain range. It's a good thing that many divine beasts don't come out. Otherwise, those who came in before might have all died. Sima Yuqing said with lingering fear. Sima Yuyang grinned, saying, That's just right. We'll catch them all this time and contract them, then bring them out. In any case, they won't be able to leave if they don't contract them. They can only waste their lives in this small clan. Let's go and sweep the place. Okay. The Sima family's disciples were all energized and followed Sima Yuyang to sweep the place. In the close to a month's time, the Sima family members swept the divine beasts, watched Sima Yu tame them, contract them and advance in rank. To them this month was like a dream. This kind of life was something that they would never have dared to imagine in the past. In the end, Sima Yu tamed a total of 90 divine beasts. In addition to the 8 large birds from before, she had a total of 90 divine beasts. The young people who came in with her came one after another. She was only in charge of taming them. The distribution was left to Sima Yulin and the other young masters to manage. After taming the last divine beast, Sima Yu felt that she could advance in rank again. Thinking about how she had only advanced by 1 rank, she suppressed all her spirit energy in her body and did not advance in rank. Those who haven't gotten any divine beasts, don't be anxious. We've gotten so many divine beasts here. When the time comes, we'll take them out and go to the mountains to catch some divine beasts for you to tame and contract them. Otherwise, you can only contract saint beasts. Sima Yuyang said to the remaining people, Young master, we're not anxious. We'll go out and catch some divine beasts. Those who hadn't contracted any divine beasts said, Okay, there's still a month's time. Everyone, go and look for your own opportunities. Sima Yuyang waved his hand, and everyone dispersed. With everyone together, even if they found something good, there wouldn't be enough to share. Sima Yu looked at Sima Yuming and the others, saying, Big brother, you guys go too. Okay, we'll meet outside. Sima Yuming and the others left as well. Sima Yu stood alone by the lake and looked at the 3 mountains beside the lake. Sima Yulin said that it was the family's inheritance and that only those who were related by blood could enter. Many people went to the 3 mountains just now. My intuition tells me that there's something good inside. It's a pity that I can't go in. Suddenly, she felt that there was something calling out to her from the mountain in the middle. She couldn't help but walk over. Chapter 253. Sima Yu came to the front of the mountain. This mountain was slightly smaller than the other 2 mountains. Previously, many of the disciples had chosen the 2 sides of the mountain. Only Sima Yulin and the others had chosen this one. There was a large rock at the foot of the mountain. There was a palm-shaped groove on it, and there were messy footprints in front of the rock. It was obvious that the person who had just entered had stepped on it. Sima Yua walked around the mountain, but did not find any way to enter or leave. Could it be that only bloodlines can enter? She came to the stone and stared at it for a long time, but she still couldn't figure it out. This thing can distinguish the power of bloodlines? She muttered. But she still placed her right hand on it. Maybe this isn't accurate and outsiders can also enter. Ouch. Sima Yue felt that her palm was stung by something. She clearly saw that the inside of the groove was smooth, and there was nothing there. What was it? She picked it up and saw a small hole in her palm. Her blood was dripping into the groove. This thing is really strange. Sima Yue looked at her blood slowly seeping into the stone. Suddenly, a ray of white light shot out from the groove. It was too dazzling, so she instinctively closed her eyes and put her hands in front of her. Yue. Sima Yue heard Sima Yu Yang's voice and opened her eyes. She saw that she was already in a cave. Sima Yu Lin, Sima Yu Yang, Sima Yu Lan and Sima Yu Qing looked at her suspiciously. Why are you guys here? Sima Yue asked. We wanted to ask you the same thing. What are you doing here? Sima Yu Yang retorted. Oh, I just touched the groove and the white light brought me here. Sima Yue said. You have the bloodline of the Sima family in you? Sima Yu Qing said with surprise. Sima Yue scratched her head and said. No way? Grandpa said that I was sent to him by my father. How can I have the blood of the Sima family? Then how did you get in? Sima Yu Qing didn't believe it, saying. That can only be opened by the bloodline of the Sima family. Maybe it's broken. How can a stone tell if it is or isn't? Sima Yu, you could only explain it this way. In the past, there were people with other surnames who came in, but they were unable to enter the 3 mountains. Sima Yulin said, implying that it was not because of the stones. Sima Yu Yang looked at Sima Yu Yu, saying, could it be that you're really a member of our Sima family? Grandpa won't lie to me. My master also said that my parents are not from this continent. Sima Yue said with certainty. Not someone from the Sima family. Sima Yulin mulled over these words. He suddenly remembered that when he was looking at the genealogy, he had heard Sima Lin say that the Sima family seemed to be from the upper realms as well. He looked at Sima Yue and asked, is that really the case? What do you mean? Sima Yue asked, maybe you're from the Sima family from the upper realms, and our ancestors came down from the upper realms as well. That's why your bloodline was recognized by the divine stone. Sima Yulin said his guess. It can't be that coincidental, right? Sima Yue looked at Sima Yulin in confusion. Could it be that her father's surname was also Sima? We came from the upper realms. Sima Yu Yang said faintly. Maybe it's really the case. No matter whether it is or not. Since Yu Yu has come in, let's choose a door. Sima Yulan said. Choose a door? Sima Yue looked at the cave and realized that this cave was the size of a football field and had many doors formed by white light. The white light blocked their vision and mental strength, making them unable to see clearly what was inside. Behind these doors are opportunities. In the past, there were divine beasts here, so very few people were able to come here. You choose a door and go in. You guys go in first. I'll have to think about which one to go in. Sima Yue said. Actually, she felt as if there was something here that was attracting something. However, there were too many people, so she couldn't probe further. Sima Yulin and the others had already chosen, so they nodded and each went into the tunnel they had chosen. Now that she was the only one left in the cave, she closed her eyes in front of each door and tried to sense it. After passing tens of doors, she finally decided on the door she wanted to go in. I wonder what it's like inside. I'll know once I go in. As she spoke, she walked into the white light, and her figure disappeared into the white light. Unexpectedly, there was nothing behind the door. There was only a long corridor. She walked along the tunnel, and soon came to a stone room. There was a 5-colored turntable on the wall of the stone room and nothing else. Could this turntable be the inheritance? Sima Yue looked around, and really didn't see anything suspicious. She came to the turntable, and started to study it. What's the use of this turntable? She stretched out her hand and turned the turntable, but found that it didn't move at all. It's not moving. How troublesome. These 5 colors are the same as the 5 colors of the 5 spiritual energies. Could it be that I have to insert spiritual energy into it? Thinking of this possibility, she first inserted the fire attribute spiritual energy into the red part. The moment the spiritual energy entered the turntable, the red part lit up. It should be like this. Sima Yue then moved the other 4 spiritual energies and lit up the other parts as well. Clang dash. When all the colors were lit up, the 5-colored turntable started to spin. It spun 3 times clockwise and 3 times counterclockwise. After that, the turntable split into 2 and moved to the sides, revealing a hole in the wall. There was a box in the hole. So it's like this. The 5-colored turntable represents the 5 spiritual energies. This door can only allow 1 person to enter at a time, and this turntable requires 5 different spiritual energies to activate. That's why no one has ever obtained anything from here. I wonder what's inside. She stepped forward and took the box down. When she opened the box, a murderous aura rushed towards her. Swoosh! The moment she opened the box, she felt danger. She subconsciously moved her head to the left. The murderous aura brushed past her right cheek, and with a bang, it pierced a hole in the wall behind her. Sima Yue turned around and looked at the hole. She was glad that she dodged quickly. Otherwise, her neck would have been separated from her head. What exactly is this thing? It's been sealed here for thousands of years, yet it still has such a strong battle intent. She carefully opened the box and saw a broken sword hilt. The sword hilt was only 3 inches away from the hilt. It was a broken weapon, and that weapon was still releasing a strong murderous aura. There was a thin book under the weapon. That murderous aura just now was released by this broken sword? Whose weapon is this? Sima Yue reached out her hand to pick up the broken sword. When she held the hilt, she felt a bone-piercing cold. If it wasn't for the contract with me, you would be a pile of ashes by now. Emo Shah's voice sounded. His figure came out from the bracelet and floated beside the box. Chapter 254. Sima Yue was surprised to see Emo Shah come out. Ever since he successfully fused with the spirit pagoda, he rarely came out. Emo Shah, why did you come out? Emo Shah didn't answer her, only staring straight at the broken sword. Suddenly, his palm slowly solidified and sucked the broken sword into his hand. Be careful. Sima Yue swallowed her words before she could finish, because she realized that the broken sword was very obedient in Emo Shah's hands. Even its killing intent was restrained. As Emo Shah looked at the broken sword, his face revealed a trace of tenderness, as if he was looking at his former lover. Is this broken sword yours? Sima Yue could not help but ask. Emo Shah still didn't respond to her. He only caressed the broken sword. His careful manner moved her. Could this be his weapon when he was alive? Sima Yue guessed. Afterwards, Emo Shah waved his hand towards the box, and the spirit technique inside was flung out. He then sucked the box over and placed the broken sword inside, saying, Keep it well. Before you have the strength, it's best that you don't let anyone know about it. Sima Yue took the box and looked at Emo Shah, saying, The call I felt from the outside wasn't actually calling me, but rather a connection between you and it, right? You're not stupid after all. Emo Shah's hand became transparent again as he said, This is the weapon that I personally refined when I was alive. It was destroyed in that battle. I never thought that after so many years, I would be able to see it again. Sima Yue looked at the broken sword in the box. Even after so many years, this broken sword still had such a strong murderous aura. When it was complete, when it was not broken, what kind of terrifying weapon was it? Isn't this the land of the Sima family? You are a demon, why would your weapon be with them? Sima Yue was confused. I never said that I fell in the demon realm. Emo Shah said. Maybe someone obtained it in that battle, and then it ended up here. Emo Shah's voice was a little sad as he returned to the bracelet. Sima Yue handed the box over to Little Spirit, and told it to keep it safe, and not let anyone know about it. Then she picked up the book on the ground. Merge, what book is this? Sima Yue opened the book and skimmed through it. After reading the introduction, she was so happy that she almost kissed the book. There's actually such a good book. It's such a waste that it's been buried here for so many years, Sima Yue said with a smile. But if it weren't for this, I'm afraid I wouldn't have been able to get you. Fusion, as the title of the book, talked about how to let the master and his contracted beast merge into one. and then transfer the contracted beast's ability to the master. The method was simple. Sima Yue only spent 5 days to master it. She called Yaguang out and muttered a few words. Yaguang turned into a white light and attached to her body. Her arms turned into Yaguang's iron claws. She picked up a stone in the corner and patted it lightly. The stone immediately turned into a pile of powder. So powerful. Sima Yue took a deep breath. Yaguang's most powerful ability was his iron claws. Now that she had merged with him, she also had this ability. Touch, she said softly, and Yaguang separated from her body. This is really useful. Sima Yue looked at her hands with satisfaction. Then, she called out Little Rock and told him to merge with her. Little Rock turned into a white light and attached to her body. This time, a pair of wings appeared on her back. She used her thoughts to control the wings and move them. Suddenly, the dust in the stone room flew all over the sky. Haha, wait for me to go out and see if I can fly. Sima Yue laughed as she merged with Little Rock. Fun. Yu, let's see what it's like when you merge with me. Little Roar saw her playing by herself and shouted, Okay, merge. Little Roar and Sima Yue merged. He realized that she did not change much. She did not grow wings and her body did not become stronger. Little Roar, what's your specialty? Sima Yue asked. After a while, Little Roar's voice faintly sounded. Eating. Does it count? Sima Yue's face was filled with black lines. She released the merge and hugged him in her arms. I knew you were useless. Every time you eat a lot of things, you still dare to ask me if it counts as a specialty? Io, I'm killing a beast. Little Roar roared. However, no matter how much he roared, Sima Yue ignored him. She only stopped when she messed up his white fur. Master, I think you and Little Roar are not completely useless. Thousand Resonance waited for Sima Yue to finish teaching Little Roar a lesson before he spoke. But there's no change in my body, Sima Yue said. Little Roar can ignore all enchantments. I think Master should be able to obtain this ability after merging with him, Thousand Resonance said. Sima Yue thought for a while. It seemed that this ability was indeed more outstanding. Alright, let's go out now. Let's see what's behind the other doors. Sima Yue kept her contracted beasts into the spirit pagoda and left the stone room. However, when she was outside, Sima Yue realized that there was a limit to these doors. One person could only enter one door. She had already entered one, so she could not enter the other doors. I wonder how to get out of here. She looked around the cave and did not see any way out. She could only sit down and wait for Sima Yue and the others. She waited for 20 days. Thinking about how she obtained it in 5 to 6 days, she wondered what the 4 of them obtained. The first to come out was Sima Yue. When she saw Sima Yue sitting outside, she asked, Yue, you didn't go in? I went in, but I came out long ago. I was waiting for you. However, none of you came out. I'm going to rot from waiting. Sima Yue glanced at Sima Yue. Her eyes were filled with resentment. You've waited for a long time? Sima Yue nodded and counted with her fingers. It's been 20 days. Sigh. Did you all obtain a very good inheritance? It actually took so long. That's not true. Sima Yue said. I spent 10 days to pass the test. The real time to receive the inheritance was only half a month. How did you come out so quickly? Sima Yue blinked and asked suspiciously. There was a test? You didn't. Sima Yue looked at her suspiciously. Sima Yue shook her head, saying, I went in and only saw a long tunnel. There was nothing. The tunnel was also very calm. There were no traps or anything. Then you obtained the inheritance? You can say so. Sima Yue said. Heavens, your luck is so good. You actually didn't take the test. Sima Yue looked up at the sky. This guy was so strong. But she didn't expect his luck to be so good as well. They had to overcome obstacles to receive the inheritance, but this guy was good. He went in directly and got it done. She really wanted to rub some of his luck. Chapter 255. After waiting for another 2 days, Sima Yuyang and Sima Yulan came out one after another. It was only on the last day that Sima Yulin came out. Yulin, the three of them don't know how to get out. Do you know? Sima Yue sat on the ground and ate her roasted chicken, not caring about her image at all. Beside her was a pile of leftover bones. Sima Yu Yang and the others each had a roasted chicken to nibble on. That golden roasted chicken looked exceptionally tempting. Sima Yulin walked over and snatched the roasted chicken from Sima Yu Yang's hands. He tore off a piece and placed it in his mouth. After swallowing it, he said, "There's no way out here." "No way out? Then how do we get out?" "When the time comes, it will naturally throw us out." "Throw? All right, then we can only wait." Sima Yue sighed helplessly. Her strength was increasing too quickly, so she needed to go to the back of the mountain to find some spirit beasts to train with. Otherwise, her strength would be too weak, which would not be good for her cultivation in the future. Sima Yu Yang looked at Sima Yulin resentfully, saying, "My roasted chicken. You've been out for so long. You've already eaten a bunch of chicken bones. Eat less to maintain your figure." Sima Yulin said. "Yu." Sima Yu Yang turned his gaze towards Sima Yu, wanting her to roast another one for him. Sima Yue threw a chicken to him and said, "Roast it yourself." Sima Yu Yang picked up the chicken, and just as he was about to look into its eyes, a white light enveloped them, and the few of them disappeared from the cave. In the valley, Sima Tai, Sima Lin and a group of elders were anxiously waiting. Suddenly, a white light flashed and a group of people were spat out by the white light. "Ouch! It's crushing me to death. Who is sitting on my head?" In the valley, everyone was thrown into a pile. If they weren't spirit masters, they would have all been crushed to death. The great elder looked around and said in surprise, "Not a single disciple has fallen this year." It really is." The second elder also scanned the area. Not only did they not fall, most of them even increased by 2 to 3 levels. Sima Lin said, "It's so easy this year?" Sima Tai and Sima Lin looked at each other. This year's situation was a little abnormal. F***ck, it was indeed thrown out. "My ass." Sima Yue cursed. "Yue, you're sitting on my face." The people below wanted to scold the person sitting in front of them, but when they heard Sima Yue's voice, they changed their minds. Sima Yu stood up and saw that she was sitting on one side of that person's face, while the other side was already buried in the ground. "Ahem, I'm sorry," Sima Yue said apologetically as she pulled him up. "It's nothing." "All right, get up and stand properly," the great elder said loudly. Those people hurriedly stood up and obediently stood there. "Didn't you encounter any danger when you entered?" Seeing that no one was injured, the third elder couldn't help but ask. "No," everyone replied in unison. "There are quite a few divine beasts inside. Didn't you guys encounter them?" "I've met him." "Then why did you say that you didn't encounter any danger?" The third elder blew his beard. "There really wasn't any danger. Those divine beasts were all subdued by us. Not a single one of us was injured." Someone replied, "Subdued by you?" "That's right, we brought them all out. There's not a single divine beast inside." Sima Yu Yang said. Sima Tai raised his eyebrows. "You brought all the divine beasts out?" "Yes, Grandpa." "Brothers, let's show them what you've done." Sima Yu Yang roared, and those who had divine beasts all showed their divine beasts out. So many divine beasts. Those elders were shocked by the densely packed divine beasts. "How did you form contracts with these divine beasts?" The second elder asked. "Everyone caught them together. Then you tamed them for us to form contracts with." The disciple replied, "Good, good, good." Sima Tai said good 3 times in a row. His happiness was evident in his words. "Initially, we thought that it would be the last time we would open the clan grounds because there were too many divine beasts. Who would have thought that you would actually be able to get rid of this hidden danger? Not bad. Clan leader, since the disciples have already returned, you can ask anything you want when we return." Sima Lin said. "That's fine too." The teleportation array had been prepared long ago, and they quickly returned to the main courtyard. When they returned, Sima Yu found Sima Yu Ming and the others, and walked over to stand with them. "Brother, your strength has increased by another rank?" She furrowed her eyebrows, saying, "Your strength has increased too quickly recently." We feel the same way. So we plan to wait a few days before going out to train for a few months. Sima Yuming said. I'm guessing that they will go to the mountains to catch divine beasts soon. When the time comes, you guys will go with them and fight well to strengthen your strength. Sima Yu said. That's not bad. If you go out alone, you might meet with danger. It's best to go with the clan members. Sima Yu said. Fifth bro, what about you? Sima Yu asked. I'm not going. I'll just look for spirit beasts at the back of the mountain. Sima Yu shook her head. She had lived in the mountains for 2 years and did not want to experience life in the mountains again. While they were talking, Sima Tai had already finished speaking and let everyone go back first. However, Sima Yu Lin and the others stayed behind. Sima Yu followed behind them to the hall and found a seat at the back to sit down. Yulin, is what you said true? Sima Tai asked. Yes. Sima Yulin said. Yu does indeed have the bloodline of the Sima family. You went behind that door? Sima Lin asked. That's right. Sima Yu said. Is the stone outside the mountain unreliable? That stone is definitely reliable. It's passed down from our ancestors. Sima Tai said. So you're really a member of the Sima family. Sima Yu rolled her eyes at him and leaned on the table, not saying a word. That old fox. If she continued his words, she would easily fall into his trap. Yulan, the blood in your body is a little restless. Has the spirit beast blood in your body been activated? Sima Tai asked. Yes, clan leader. Sima Yulan said with a smile. This time, I just happened to choose a pool that activates my blood. After absorbing the essence inside, my blood has been activated by quite a bit. Sima Tai nodded, saying, Originally, your cultivation talent was rather good. Now that your blood has been activated and you have cultivated well, you will definitely go far in the future. Yes, clan leader. Sima Yulan replied. Sima Tai asked the few of them about the opportunities that they had obtained, and then asked Sima Yu what she had obtained. Sima Yu took out the fusion technique unhappily, and muttered. What they obtained was to increase their own strength. Only what I obtained was for everyone to learn. Sigh, what a loss, what a huge loss. Chapter 256. Hearing Sima Yu's nagging, Sima Yuqing and the others lowered their heads and could not help but laugh. Sima Tai, on the other hand, was so shocked that he was speechless. How is it? Do you feel like you've picked up a huge bargain? Sima Yu looked at Sima Tai's expression and snorted. You have to compensate me. Okay. Sima Tai answered quickly this time. Patriarch, this is? Sima Lin saw how straightforward Sima Tai was, and was curious about the spirit technique in his hands. Do you remember one of our family records? It mentioned that our ancestor had a skill that allowed him to add the abilities of his contracted beast to himself? Sima Tai asked. Could it be this? Sima Lin's face was filled with unconcealable shock. If that was the case, the Sima family would really have to thank Sima Yue. I think your ancestors didn't want you to learn this skill, Sima Yue said. Why? That's because it's almost impossible to obtain this spiritual technique. I just happened to fulfill the requirements and obtained it, Sima Yue said. If the ancestors really wanted their descendants to learn it, they wouldn't have left it there. Yu, didn't you say that you didn't pass the test? Sima Yuqing said. That's right. There was no test in front, but the place where it was stored was blocked by a hard turntable. If you can't open the turntable, you can't get it, Sima Yue said. Then how harsh are the conditions to open the wheel? Sima Yuyang asked. In any case, none of you will be able to open it. It's not that it's difficult, it's just that you don't have what it takes, Sima Yue said. What conditions? Even Brother Yulin can't do it? Sima Yulan asked. Sima Yulin also looked at Sima Yu, his eyes filled with curiosity and doubt. Sima Yue sighed and said, That turntable has 5 colors, and each color requires a corresponding amount of spiritual energy. That place only allows one person to enter at a time. If this isn't to prevent ordinary people from entering, then what is it? You're a spirit master of all faculties. Sima Yang exclaimed when he heard what Sima Yu said. I didn't say that. Sima Yu said. Let's not talk about this. Master, you said that you were willing to compensate me. Sima Tai was also surprised when he found out that she was a complete spirit master and said, Yes, what kind of compensation do you want? Since I gave you something good, I naturally have to compensate you with something good. Sima Yu chuckled and said, I heard that there are many spiritual techniques in our residence's library, but you can't just go in and out. You are allowed to enter freely. Sima Tai said, I'm not asking for this. Sima Yu waved her hand and said, My 4 brothers have been locked up by you guys for 3 years, and have not learned any good spiritual techniques. Let them go in and choose a spiritual technique. Everyone was stunned. They didn't expect that her request was to fight for an opportunity for her brother to study. She had really done her best for her brothers. They are members of the clan, so they can naturally enter the library to choose spiritual techniques. Sima Tai said, Speaking of spiritual techniques, do you still have the Raging Inferno Cleave? No. I returned it to grandfather when I came back. Sima Yu said, Since we've already agreed, I'll head back first. Oh right. I don't like to hear others talk about me. I get angry when I hear it. After saying that, she bowed to the people above and left. This guy, he actually dares to threaten me. Sima Tai said angrily, but everyone could see that there was no anger in his eyes. Yu usually likes to keep a low profile. If we tell others about him, he might really get angry. Sima Yuqing said. He's strong, but not arrogant. He's mature and steady. He'll definitely become someone great in the future. Eldest elder sighed. If other powers know that our clan has produced a genius like him, they'll definitely kill him. Second elder said. No one is allowed to spread what we've said here today. Also, the clan members must keep you use other abilities a secret. Otherwise, you'll be punished according to the clan rules. Sima Tai said. Yes, clan leader. Just like that. Sima Yu created a huge wave in the Sima residence. However, not a single ripple flew out. The outside world didn't receive any news at all. Seeing this result, Sima Yu was very satisfied. Although the clan members knew that she could tame divine beasts, nobody said it out loud. What they said that day in the Great Hall didn't leak out either. That was why, apart from Sima Yulin and a few others, the Sima family members didn't know that she was an all-round genius. Boom dash, she fought with a male lion. The other party had just become a divine beast, but they were still evenly matched. Of course, this was under the condition that she didn't even use her trump card. I don't want to fight anymore. I don't want to fight anymore. The male lion cried out as his fur was burnt by Sima Yu's flames. Big lion, we haven't fought for long today. How can you back out? Sima Yu jumped onto the lion's back and pulled on his ear. You're getting stronger and stronger. My fur has been burnt by you many times. Big lion said. Didn't I give you a pill to recover? Sima Yu said. Who else can have such treatment? Even so, I don't want to. Big lion decided not to fight with her today. No, I haven't found a better sparring partner. You have to fight with me. Sima Yu acted shamelessly. My little ancestor, please spare me. Big lion begged. There are so many spirit beasts in this mountain. Why did you choose me? What can I do? Sima Yu patted Big Lion's head and said, In this mountain, if it's not that the city is too low, then it's that their abilities are too high. If I want to train my battle abilities, I will definitely use someone like you as a sparring partner. Big Lion laid on the ground and said, I don't care, I don't care. I don't want to fight with you anymore. Sima Yu was speechless. This lion was really cowardly. It had already been half a month since they returned from the clan grounds. In this half a month, she had been running into the mountain every day to find spirit beasts to fight and strengthen her abilities. Previously, she was still suppressing the feedback she received. She was prepared to advance in another 2 days. However, she didn't expect that at this time, her sparring partner Big Lion wouldn't do it. Since it's not willing, why don't we have a spar today? Sima Lin appeared and said to Sima Yue. Sima Yue looked towards the mountain top and saw Sima Lin looking at her. Grandpa Lin, 3 years ago, we had a spar of mental strength. Why don't we do it again today? Sima Lin flew down and looked at Sima Yue as he said. Sure. Sima Yue agreed readily. After returning to the clan, she had always wanted to find Sima Lin to spar again. 3 years ago, she was completely suppressed by him. She really wanted to know if 3 years later, she would still be unable to take 3 moves from him like before. Chapter 257. Then take it. Sima Lin said as he sent his mental power to attack Sima Yue. Sima Yue immediately focused on defending herself. She did not dare to underestimate the mental strength of an accomplished array master. Both of their spiritual powers were almost solid. When they met in the air, there was a solid sound. In the beginning, Sima Lin did not use much strength because today, he did not need to beat her until she could not walk like 3 years ago. However, he soon realized that Sima Yue's spiritual power had grown several times over the past 3 years. She could easily block his attack. One had to know that the spiritual power he was releasing now was the same as the spiritual power he used to defeat her 3 years ago. Again, Sima Lin's second attack had doubled in strength. However, Sima Yue was still able to receive it with ease. Sima Lin's third attack was not only received by Sima Yue, she even fiercely used her strength to reorganize his mental power. Grandpa Lin, how is it? Sima Yue asked with a smile. When she first met him 3 years ago, she had only been practicing the soul refining art for a short period of time, but she was already able to receive his attacks. Now that 3 years had passed, she had been practicing the soul refining art every day, and her mental strength was no longer the same as before. Sima Lin nodded and flew down from the top of the mountain, saying, I didn't expect your spiritual energy to be so powerful. I heard that you are also an array master? Sima Yue knew that Sima Yulin must have told him. However, she didn't try to hide it and nodded in agreement. She had always wanted to ask him for pointers on her array formation. Now that he had asked, she could take the opportunity to ask him for advice. What level has your comprehension of space reached? Sima Lin asked. I can already control the space of half of my body, Sima Yue replied. Sima Lin revealed a look of surprise. She was still so young, yet she could already control space. Good. Although the clan has produced 2 array masters, their talent is far inferior to yours. Sima Lin excitedly said, I will tell you everything I know. In the future, your achievements will definitely be much higher than mine. Thank you, Grandpa Lin. Sima Yue cupped her fists and bowed. Haha, let's go to the pavilion at the top of the mountain. Sima Yue happily followed Sima Lin. In the following days, Sima Yue lived a simple and peaceful life. When she had time, she would discuss with Sima Lin about array formations. Sima Lin liked her very much and taught her everything he knew, allowing her to improve greatly in array formations. Other than learning array formations, she would also fight with him from time to time, constantly improving through the battles. The Scarlet Queen Bee had already given birth to quite a number of scarlet bees, and she was collecting honey in the Spirit Pagoda. Every month, she would send a bottle of honey to the old fox. The old fox would distribute the honey to the disciples of the family to help them increase their strength. Aside from Sima Yulin, the others who obtained the honey had no idea where it came from. Of course, towards the end, the Scarlet Queen Bee would give birth to even more scarlet bees, and would produce even more honey. Sima Yue kept all the honey, and appropriately increased the amount she gave to the Sima family, leaving the rest for future use. Wei Ziqi and the others had been cultivating in the Spirit Pagoda for more than a year, and they did not know when they would advance in rank. That was why Sima Yue would run to the mountains every few days, going to a secluded place to pick them up and advance in rank. In this 1 year, the few of them had all advanced to the rank of Spirit Overlord, and Bei Gong Tang had already advanced to the rank of Spirit Saint. When there were still 3 months before the gathering, Sima Yue received a piece of news, and hurriedly called the few of them out of seclusion. What's wrong, Yue? Fatty Chu came out and asked. This was the first time she had interrupted their cultivation, so something big must have happened. Sima Yue looked at Ouyang Fei and said, "There's news from the South Yu Kingdom, saying that the South Yu Emperor and the others know that you're still alive, and have even left the Dongqin Kingdom. They've spread the news, saying that they will execute your mother and her clansmen in half a month's time." Ouyang Fei immediately flew into a rage, and smashed the stone table with a palm, shouting, "Ouyang Dong dares! He has just ascended the throne, and knows that Ouyang Fei is still alive. He will definitely think of a way to get rid of you." Bei Gongtang said, "Right, when your father was still alive, he did not dare to make a move against your mother and her clansmen, and could only secretly plot against you. Now that he has ascended the throne, he will naturally eliminate these hidden dangers." Wei Ziqi analyzed, "If those old people in the court know that you're still alive, they will definitely overthrow him and make you the emperor. Ouyang Dong is afraid that this will happen." Fatty Chu had matured a lot in these 2 years. Sima Yue looked at him and asked, "What do you plan to do?" Ouyang Fei clenched his fists and said, "What else can I do? He knows that my clansmen are my weakness. He knows that I will definitely return once I receive the news, and I'm afraid that he has already set up a killing array for me to return. However, even if that's the case, I still have to return." Sima Yue patted his shoulder and said, "What are you afraid of? Our current strength is not low either. When we go to South Yu, we'll turn everything upside down. Right, let's go and challenge his throne, and directly settle the grudges from a few years ago," Wei Ziqi said. "You guys." Ouyang Fei wanted to tell them not to go, but he could not say it out loud. With his understanding of them, he knew that even if he said it, it would be useless. "Since time is tight, I'll go and inform grandfather and the others, and then we'll move," Sima Yue said. "Before we reach South Yu's capital, Ouyang Fei, stay here first. Don't show your face," Wei Ziqi said. "Right, that South Yu Emperor will definitely guess that you will return. Who knows, he might set up an ambush or something along the way. We can't waste time on the road," Sima Yue said. "All right. Then we'll have to trouble you, Yu. Ouyang Fei nodded. "Look at what you're saying." Sima Yue glared at him, saying, "I'll go and bring grandfather and the others out." She came to another house and told Sima Lai and the others about the situation, and brought them out. "Fifth bro, why don't you let us go with you?" Sima Yue said. In this 1 year, they had risen quite a few ranks in the Spirit Pagoda. When they heard that she was going to South Yu, they naturally wanted to go with her. "You guys stay at home. When the time comes, we'll go and participate in the gathering. You guys are the trump card of the Sima family. You can't expose yourselves in advance," Sima Yue said. "When the time comes, I'll meet you guys at the gathering." "You all right? Then you have to be careful," Sima Yuran said. "I will." Sima Yue nodded. "I'll go and inform the clan leader." As she spoke, she took out a bottle of honey and handed it to Sima Yuming, saying, "This is for you guys for the next 3 months." Sima Yuming naturally knew that this was scarlet honey. He had been drinking this for the past year. He took it and said, "You have to be careful. Bring Chongming along." "I'll be careful," Sima Yue replied, then sighed, saying, "That guy Chongming has gone to take care of his wife. I don't know if he has the time to go with us." Chapter 258. Sima Yuming and the others were speechless. Chongming clearly went to take care of the egg left by his friend, but she said that he was taking care of his wife. If he heard this, who knew how he would react? "All right, Grandpa brothers, I'm leaving." Sima Yue waved at them and left the courtyard. She went to the main courtyard. Sima Tai happened to be free. "You're leaving?" Sima Tai asked without waiting for her to speak. Sima Yue blinked and asked, "How did you know?" Sima Tai smiled. "The child with you should be the former crown prince of the South Yu Kingdom. Now that news has spread from the South Yu Kingdom, you would naturally run over to watch the show." Sima Yue did not expect Sima Tai to know about this and said, "An old fox is an old fox. Nothing can be hidden from you. Since you already know, I don't need to say anything more. Pay attention to your safety and attend the meeting on time," Sima Tai said. "I know," Sima Yue said. I'm going to look for the same person. Go. Sima Tai waved his hand. After Sima Yue came out, she went to a mountain outside of Anyang City and came to a cave. She called Little Roar out and merged with him. Then she swaggered into the cave. Tong Ming, who was in the cave, felt someone enter. He opened his eyes and looked outside, then closed them again. On a stone platform in front of him, an egg covered in veins lay quietly. If you look closely, you will see that there are circles of golden red lines in those lines. Sima Yue came in with a spiritual fruit in her mouth. When she saw Tong Ming, she said, Tong Ming, I'm here to see your wife. Chong Ming didn't even bother to open his eyes and ignored her. Ever since she found out that there was a female bird in the egg, she had been calling him wife. Now he was immune to it. Sima Yue held the spirit fruit in her mouth and walked around the egg twice. Then, she took out 2 herbs and a small half of the golden snake fruit. She created a flame and threw the herbs into the fire to refine them. Now, she could directly use fire to refine the ingredients, so she didn't need to use a pill furnace every time. After refining it, she retracted the flame, and the essence landed on the egg. Soon it was all sucked in. Tong Ming had already opened his eyes when she was refining the herbs. When he saw her holding the spirit fruit in her mouth and refining the rare herbs, the corner of his mouth twitched. Sima Yue took a bite of the spiritual fruit and said, Chong Ming, your wife has eaten a lot of good things from me in the past year. When will she break out of her shell? I came out when I was supposed to, Chong Ming said. What are you doing here today? I need to talk to you about something, Sima Yue said. She told him about Ouyang Fei's situation, and then said that she wanted to invite him to go with her to South Yu Kingdom. That would be safer. After hearing this, Chongming was silent for a while and said, We'll leave the day after tomorrow. Why? Sima Yue asked. Her eyes widened as she stared at the egg. Don't tell me that your wife is about to be born? Chongming glanced at her and closed his eyes, ignoring her. Sima Yue did not care either. She released her fusion with Little Roar and stared at the egg with Little Roar. Yu, maybe if you give it something to eat, it will come out, Little Roar said. But it just absorbed a lot of good things. Sima Yue said. Why don't you give it some honey to drink? Little Roar said. That's fine. Anyway, it can be reborn. Sima Yue nodded and took out a bottle of honey. She mixed it with water and poured it on the egg bit by bit. Chongming let them do it. Anyway, what they did was good for the egg. However, he did not think that they would be able to make the bird come out earlier. Half a day later, he suddenly heard a kacha sound. It was very soft, but it did not escape his ears. Aya, it's coming out, it's coming out. Sima Yue hugged Little Roar and shouted in front of the egg. It's really coming out. Yu, do you think it will recognize us when it comes out? Little Roar said. Probably, Sima Yue said uncertainly. Isn't there a saying that it has a baby bird complex? Oh, maybe it will really recognize us. Little Roar said. Kacha dash, the crack on the egg became bigger. Even Chongming came over. The 3 of them stared at the egg closely. Kacha dash. After the crack on the egg, the speed of cracking increased. Very quickly, a bird's head could be seen squeezing out from the crack. It looked at Sima Yue and Chongming and said a sentence that shocked the 2 of them. It said, Daddy, Mommy. Ha 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 dash. Little Roar hugged his stomach and laughed loudly. He pointed at Sima Yue and said, You're a mother. Ha ha ha. Sima Yue pinched Little Roar with both hands to prevent him from laughing at her. Mommy? Little Chick looked at Sima Yue suspiciously. Then it quickly learned this word and looked at Sima Yue and said, Mommy. Sima Yue's face darkened and said, I'm not your mommy. I'm not a big bird. However, Little Chick did not care. It placed its head on the egg shell and looked at Sima Yue with its round eyes while calling for its mommy. Little Roar laughed uncontrollably. He pointed at Chongming and asked, Who is this? Daddy, Little Chick replied. Pfft, is this the rhythm of pairing the 2 of you together? Little Roar was already lying on the stone table laughing. Sima Yue stretched out her hand and poked Little Chick's head and said, He's your husband. You're his wife. Do you know that? Little Chick looked at Chongming suspiciously. It nodded and said, Hubby. That's right. Sima Yue laughed. However, she was shocked by Little Chick's words. Hubby mommy. Pftahaha. Little Roar laughed until he was out of breath. This little chick was really too cute. At this moment, even Chongming could not remain calm. He was the husband and she was the mother. Wouldn't that make her his mother-in-law? Kaihong, I'm your uncle. I'm your father's friend. He stretched out his hand and touched Little Chick's forehead, helping her accept the inheritance in her mind. Little Chick's gaze turned from confusion to clarity. From the inheritance, she knew her own species and understood the differences between the species. Uncle, thank you for saving me. It looked at Chongming with gratitude. Then it looked at Sima Yue and called out, Mommy. I'm not your mommy. Don't you know that already? Sima Yue said. But I like you. When I was in the egg, I remembered your taste. You always give me good food to eat. Little Chick said. You can call me Big Sister. Sima Yue said. Then she said. No, if you call Chongming uncle and call me Big Sister. Wouldn't he be one generation above me? You can call him Big Brother. Chongming's face was full of black lines. He said coldly, I'm from the same generation as her father. I'm more than 1,000 years older than you. Old monster. Sima Yue complained softly. In the end, Kaihong, who was also Little Chick, decided to call them Big Sister and Uncle. Sima Yue looked at Kaihong eating her own eggshell. She suddenly thought of something. Don't spirit beasts have to become holy beasts to speak? It was born a holy beast. Chapter 259. Kaihong has the bloodline of the phoenix in her body. Her bloodline was originally not bad. Although she was injured later on, she ate your golden snake fruit. In this year, you have also fed her with medicinal herbs from time to time. It is not strange that she was born a holy beast. Chongming explained. Rainbow quickly finished the eggshell. When it was the last piece, it hesitated for a moment. It looked at the eggshell, then looked at Sima Yue. Then it took the eggshell and said, Sister, this is for you. Sima Yue knew that the eggshell of birds had many uses, but she also knew that it was very important to them. They could gain a lot of power from it. Now that it wanted to give her the last part of the eggshell, she was very surprised and happy. She reached out and patted its head, saying, This is something your parents left for you. Eating it can increase your strength. Eat it all. But I want to give it to you. Rainbow said. She's more useful to you. You can give me more good stuff in the future. Sima Yue said with a smile. Rainbow thought for a moment and said, All right. Then it ate all the eggshells with crunching sounds. All right, can we go to South Yu Kingdom now? Sima Yue asked. Chongming nodded. They were originally waiting for the rainbow to come out, and now that it had come out, he was naturally willing to follow her to the South Yu Kingdom. They first went to Linchuan City, and from there, they took a transfer array to the South Yu Kingdom's capital, Eternal Peace City. When they arrived at Halcyon City, they were interrogated at the Soul Master Guild. Sima Yue even sensed the aura of many experts. It seems that the Emperor of South Yu is very afraid of Ouyang. Bei Gongtang said as she supported Sima Yue. That's not true. Sima Yue said. Ouyang's appearance will shake his position in the South Yu Kingdom. He will definitely think of a way to kill him. Chongming stood to the side with rainbow mimicry standing on his shoulder. Sister is so pitiful. The feathers on Rainbow's body were colorful, attracting many people to watch. Who built this teleportation portal? It's such an inferior product. Sima Yue complained. Alright, if you're not feeling well, you should speak less. Wei Ziqi said. Let's find a place to stay first, then we can gather some information. They found a nearby inn to stay. Sima Yue called Ouyang Fei out and asked, Do you have anyone you can rely on? Yes, but I don't know how he is now. Ouyang Fei said. And I don't know if they are still the same as before. Let's go and take a look. Sima Yue said. If he's reliable, let him come over and tell you about the situation here. We still have a few days to make arrangements. I'll give you the address. Ouyang Fei said. Ouyang Fei gave them an address and Fatty Chu and Wei Ziqi went to gather information. Sima Yue took the opportunity to sleep for a while. When she woke up, she was still feeling unwell. In order not to delay things, she entered the spirit pagoda. When Wei Ziqi and Fatty Chu returned, Sima Yue had already rested. The few of them were nestled in her room to talk about the results of the day. We went to 2 places today and found out that one of the people you mentioned had already sided with the South Yu Emperor. The other one did not give face to the South Yu Emperor and is having a hard time now. How are my grandfather and the others doing now? Ouyang Fei asked. Wei Ziqi shook his head and said, we can't see the situation over there. Right now many soldiers have isolated that area. Most people are not allowed to go near it. If you ask me, we should call that person over tonight and get him to tell us about the situation in the imperial capital. Fatty Chu said, that's fine too. Sima Yue agreed. If we go around asking about the situation here, we will definitely attract the attention of the imperial family. Why don't we just find someone to ask? All right, then let's go find him and ask him, Ouyang Fei said. After that, he looked at Wei Ziqi and the others and said, I'll have to trouble you guys this time. Be careful. We will. Wei Ziqi finished speaking and left with Fatty Chu. Deep into the night, no one was resting. When the waiter downstairs was about to fall asleep, Wei Ziqi and the others brought someone back. The person's entire body was covered in a cloak, and the wide cloak made it impossible for anyone to see his identity. Wei Ziqi knocked on the door and brought the person in. Your Highness. When the person saw Ouyang Fei in the room, he took off his cloak and rushed over, kneeling in front of him. Uncle Gui, get up first. Ouyang Fei helped him up. Your Highness, you're finally back. Uncle Gui stood up with the help of his strength and said, I knew that you were definitely still alive and have been waiting for you to come back. Have you been well all these years? I've been well, Ouyang Fei said. Uncle Gui, where are my mother and grandfather now? What's the situation like? Your Highness, don't be anxious. They are currently not in danger. Uncle Gui comforted him. Ouyang Dong wants you to come back so he will naturally let them live. It's just that their current situation is not very good. Where are they now? They are all locked up in the Imperial Palace's prison. Uncle Gui said. After Ouyang Dong ascended the throne, he has always been good to the imperial concubine. However, a few days ago, he suddenly said that the imperial concubine was seriously ill and wanted Sang Darren and the others to enter the palace to visit her. Who would have thought that after entering, they would all be arrested and said that they were plotting a rebellion and that they would be beheaded. When Ouyang Fei heard Uncle Gui's words, his face turned green and he said hatefully, 6 years ago, he was the one who secretly made a move against me. When I was out, he sent people to kill me, forcing me to hide in the Sophia mountain range. Recently, I went to Dongqin Kingdom. Now he even wants to touch my mother and grandfather. 6 years ago, it was really him who sent people to kill you? Uncle Gui asked as he wiped his tears. The people who tried to kill me were all from the Li family. Imperial concubine Li has always wanted to get rid of me, so it is normal for her family to do this. Ouyang Fei said. Ever since you went missing, the previous emperor no longer cared about the Sang family. The Sang family was declining day by day, while the Li family was like the sun in the sky, becoming more and more powerful. Uncle Gui said, these years they have become much stronger, becoming the main force supporting Ouyang Dong's ascension. No matter how much Ouyang Dong's strength increases, it will not increase by much. If he wants to ascend the throne, he naturally needs someone to protect him. And the Li family needs a puppet emperor to control the entire South Yu kingdom. Ouyang Fei clenched his fist. I originally wanted to let him live for 2 more years, but I never thought that he would be so anxious to seek death. Then I will grant him his wish. Your Highness, what do you plan to do? Uncle Gui asked. Didn't he want me to appear? Naturally I will appear and pull him down from the throne, making him and the Li family cease to exist forever. Your Highness, you must not be rash. Uncle Gui said agitatedly. Ouyang Dong calculated that you would appear, so he set up this trap. If you really go out like this, you will definitely be killed by him. You only have a few people now, but he has an entire army and guards. You're tuning in to the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.